Everybody, Atlas.
Okay, get ready over here. Here we go.
We're probably live.
Look at that. Oh, you got both of these coming through? You got all of that? Morning, y'all. I keep wanting to look at this thing. Okay, there. I'm looking at that camera. Good morning, everybody. Dr. Frank Kern here, attorney at law, chief engineer with NASA. Welcome to our very first members-only video conference of 2017. And what a good thing to do on our very first members-only video conference of the year. What a better thing to do than test out brand new technology that we've never used before. So today should work seamlessly as it always does. What could possibly go wrong with technology on the internet? But we are trying the new version of Webinar Jam's YouTube Live based platform, which eliminates that lag and that delay that we've had in previous broadcasts that made it weird. So it should work okay in theory, but we might mess it up. So if we do, have no fear, we've got backup plans to get back into the game, etc. So we should be cool. We should be cool. All right, so usually on these video conferences, I will lay some stuff on you and show you some cool stuff and then take Q&A. I figured we would start with Q&A because it seems like it's been forever since we spoke. Has it been? It seems like it's been a month or something. I know it's not because it's every other week, but for me personally, seems I haven't talked to y'all in forever. So it's a new year. I know you need some help with stuff or have some general questions. I want to get right to that. I got up once again at 0 o'clock in the morning to prepare for this call. Did a lot of work for one of our members today. Look, I'm making my complainy face. Brooke Castillo. This lady, I tell you what, is she on yet? She's probably not on yet. We can speak ill of her because she's not here. She was in my mastermind a couple of years ago, and she's been over to my home for all that stuff. And Brooke is a real crusher. And she's got a pretty good sales letter, and we did some work on it, or I did some work on it this morning. So I'm going to show you some schemery around that, and then we have other callers. And I think, do I need to subtly kind of signal to you with the detachable thumb that it's time to take the call? It's the detachable thumb. Yeah, so if you see me go like this.
Yeah, Brooke, if you can hear me, you're late. So she's actually not joined yet. She's getting on the call now. But we have Brant Larson. And I'll let you know when Brooke comes on. But we've got Brant Larson. So Brant, if you can hear me and see me, I've just invited you to join us live. So there might be a little bit of a video delay while we get Brant on.
Now, am I going to, where do I look?
Ready
I look
to
at
go.
the big screen. I can see Brant there. This is so cool, you guys. Like all of these screens and everything. Okay, so probably a delay getting Brant. I should juggle or something.
Yeah, just go ahead and juggle.
You know what I learned? I'll tell you something. While we're waiting on Brant to get on here. All right, he's probably already on. It's likely us messing it up here. So I try to go to the gym like just about every day, minimum 4 days a week, trying to get rid of some of the past bad decisions, the evidence of some of the past bad decisions. Like, sure, I'll drink 36 Coors Lights in a weekend. You know, doesn't really do much for the fitness there. And today, I was like, I can't really go because I want to do this call. I want to, prepare for the call. And then after the call, usually it's around 1 o'clock our time here. And I need to do some other stuff, like work on the newsletter, finish that up, work on the path, make sure that's really good, etc. So I was like, I'll just do some push-ups is what I'll do. Do some push-ups before I get in the shower. So I did 100 push-ups. I haven't done push-ups in years, but I've been going and lifting relatively heavy weights, for me. Man, that was unbelievably hard doing this. I was like, I'm going to have a freaking heart attack right now in my bedroom. Like, my wife's going to find me like fish-eyed on the floor from doing these damn push-ups. And it dawned on me that we, myself included, will oftentimes come up with all manner of crap that we think we have to do to get the results that we want. Look at this, it changed the screen. Whoa, and it changed back. We come up with all manner of things we think we have to do to get the intended results. Like I think I got to go to this gym 4 times a week and use all these machines and stuff. Turns out I got just as intense, if not more intense, of like pain and agony in my body from doing these damn push-ups at home in 5 minutes than I did in driving to the gym on Monday and doing 7 million exercises. I guess the point I'm trying to make is so many times, man, it comes down to the fundamentals, baby. Just do the fundamental stuff that's always worked. Focus on that, and you'll be gold. And a lot of what we're going to talk about today, especially when we play our favorite game of Let's Beat Up on Brooke, is talking about the fundamentals, man. So anyway, there you go. And it looks like, look at there, I see another person at the bottom of the screen. Now, is my man Brant going to appear? Brant, oh, hang on. I should put in the CIA earpiece. Here we go. All right. Come on in, Brant. Over. This is Frank. This
Hey,
is
Frank, you hear me?
Eagle 1 to Leader 4. Come in, Leader 4.
Leader 4's here.
Roger that. Leader 4 confirmed. Over. Can we talk like that in all of our upcoming video conferences, do you think? I think it would be productive. Seems like it would be. Dude, what's going on? Come on.
Well, I got some questions. I'm a little bit stuck at the beginning. Just a quick background. I'm a healthcare practitioner. 12 years ago, I started in chiropractic. Don't like the manual labor so much, so I'm kind of more inclined towards chronic conditions like autoimmune conditions, digestive disorders, thyroid hormone, stuff like that. And I've got the campaigns in Infusionsoft. I have the client acquisition system, but I'm a little bit stuck trying to get the Facebook ads to convert on the landing page and knowing how many lead magnets to make.
Okay, so is the question, hey, dude, will you look at my landing page and see if we can get more people to opt in on it?
Partly, I guess my first question is, how many lead magnets should I go for? So like the people I'm targeting, they have low energy, weight loss resistance, hormone imbalance, insomnia, brain fog, chronic fatigue, things like that. So do I make one for each one of those things?
I was listening, by the way, as I was drinking this water. The short answer is no. Make one for the most impactful one. So always run like, what should I do, through the 80-20 process. So I would assume, and that's a dangerous word, I know, but there's probably one of those conditions that is most magnetic to people, where they would have like a larger majority of people who are likely to pay you would suffer from that one condition. So I would build that lead magnet first and then see later if it's necessary to build more, right? Like for our business, our one inbound funnel is the consulting book. That's it. That is the one thing that we advertise, and we spend 60 to 100 grand or 120 grand a month advertising that sucker. So yeah, one day would it possibly be better to have like 10 lead magnets? Maybe, but 80-20.
Okay. So let me have you take a look at this landing page then.
Did you got some numbers for me? You have any
well,
numbers
the landing
that you
page,
can, Uh-oh. Did we blow? Oh, man, there we go. Oh, look at there. He's back. Oh, and now it's in the hallucinogenic reflection mode. That's awesome. Okay. Oh, sweet, dude.
So you seeing this
You're
now?
sharing the screen? Yeah,
Okay.
I totally see that. Okay, so before I look at this, by the way, that doesn't look bad. Give me some numbers on this. Are you getting clicks? How many opt-ins are you getting, et cetera?
Well, I haven't run a ton of traffic to it. I mean, maybe 100, 200 people have seen it, but I get about a 4% conversion or opt-in on this page here. And this is all it
so
is
3
right
or
here.
4% is bad. So how much traffic? Do you recall?
There's probably been, like I said, about 100 or 200 people that have seen the page. But I've made various pages over time, and they all somewhere get around that. So I think my problem is here with the lead magnet or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's always going to be message to market match wrong on your ad. Like ad advertises one thing, landing page says something else. That's probably not the case. Or the thing you're giving away, or the copy, or a combination thereof. Do you mind if we can take a look at the actual ad stats? Just want to make sure that that's real traffic coming to you and it's not 200 impressions of the ad or whatever this actual link clicks, because Facebook can be a little bit funky in there. Man, that's so weird. I've actually seen people use that same picture before.
This is one of the ads.
Okay. And let's get the stats on that sucker. Can you scroll down a little bit? Yeah, it's just getting weird on me, the tech. Okay, stats.
Do you see that?
I do. Yeah, can you hear me okay? Come on.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. So there we go. All right, let's see. So give me a time frame here. Oh, from October 20th. All right, dude. So you've had 47 actual clicks to that.
So yeah, this one looks like, yep.
Yeah. So is there more stuff that we can look at? I just want to make sure that it's actually broken before I start trying to fix it. You know what I mean? By the way, your costs and stuff don't look bad. Yeah, hey, don't click that. If you do, now you're in the rabbit hole, man. I'm everywhere. Don't buy that stuff. That'll kill you. Okay. Let's see here. Naturally, it's taking forever because we're on the live on camera. Come on, Facebooks.
I mean,
there we go.
Guess how many get to that before I consider it kind of broken?
A couple, maybe like 500 or something, but we need to verify that you're actually getting the traffic. So, where'd that thing go?
Okay.
Gotta have there we go. Come on now. There it is.
You guys still hear
I don't know if y'all saw that, but yeah. On my screen, it split up. This is the new tech stuff. So if you don't mind to sort of scroll up to the top of your reports. Okay, so you got 47, 83, and now 29, 19. So we're about 110 link clicks. Scroll down a little bit too, if you don't mind, just within your reporting there. Okay. All right, good. So you're at like 100-something link clicks. So all this other stuff is video views, and we're not really, that doesn't really mean anything in terms of driving traffic to you, right? So you ain't really got no traffic. I mean, you got 100 or so, but there's not necessarily yet enough to go, oh my God, it's broken. So with that said, let's say, what's that, 29, 19, we'll say that's 40, just for easy math. And what was the total? Rounded up to 130 clicks or something. So how many, what do you call them there? Opt-ins have you gotten?
Well, like I said, it'd be about 3%, 4% is usually what I've been getting.
But do you know totally literally how many you're getting? So can you log into the system and see?
Well, I see I've used different landing pages at times too. I guess that was one of my first questions, like I said.
I want to talk to our guys for a minute while you're pulling that up, if you don't mind. Is all of you guys that are watching this, that are like, why in the hell is he asking so many questions? Why don't he just tell them what's wrong with the landing page? We need to actually make sure that what our brain is telling us is true. Like, our brains will totally BS us all the time and be like, oh, nothing's working, etc. When in reality, it actually might be. So I don't not believe you. Brant, I just want to 100% make sure that it's really not getting conversions, because we might find that man has gotten like 15 conversions or something, and that's not so bad, especially considering the low click volume in this case, you know? So let's take a look in here inside of the old megaphone. As you're pulling that up, I'll talk to our homies here for a minute. Whenever you're looking at a campaign, whether it's advertising or whatever, there's only 4 components really that are going to matter that you measure. Component number 1 is, are they clicking on the ad? Now, I didn't look at the stats, but I'm looking in chat here, and it looks like the click-through rate was 2.8% or something, which is ridiculously good. So that's amazing. So if that's the case, or even if it's half of that, that's all right. So the ad itself is getting clicked on. The next thing is, are they opting in? We don't know that yet, right? Well, it looks like at this stage we maybe do, but I'll dig into those stats here in a minute. The next phase is, okay, if they're opting in, are they opening and clicking the emails? And the final thing we measure is, are they buying? So those are the only 4 metrics we look at. So when I'm asking like a million questions to poor Brant right now, I just need to verify that step 2 is in fact broken before we can tweak anything. Step 1, by the way, Brant's looking real good. So that's awesome. So you ain't got a problem there, which is sweet. Okay, so let's have a look here.
See my
it looks like you've had... Yeah, I do. Okay. So let's see, is this all of the stats? So are all 100 views that it's telling us, have they all gone to that particular page, et cetera? Because it looks like you were the only opt-in. Okay, so this is better. Okay, so that's got 135 views.
I think that's the one that it's on right now.
Okay, that makes sense because the stats sound about right with what we added up.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Okay, so and that one got whatever 6 point something percent or something.
4.4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is not so great. So now let's take a look at it. All right. I just wanted to verify, guys. So always verify your data. Whenever y'all are wanting to change anything, make sure that you really understand that if you have a problem, what the problem is. So now let's take a look at this sucker. Okay. So let's go back to the ad first. I don't mean to have you jumping around, but I want to see what's driving them to click. So this is the one that's working. If you could just bring that up. Okay, local Minnesota doctor shares drug-free tips and information to help common thyroid system symptoms. Sweet. Okay, now let me look at the page. Okay, so your ad is working like crazy. It's saying, here's how to solve these thyroid problem symptoms, right? Your headline says, this is why your lab values are normal, but you still don't feel well. There's nothing that's moving them towards that outcome of solving the problem of the symptoms. The first thing I would do is make what you're giving away here past the millisecond rule, which is can a scanner, someone who's like distracted because they're on Facebook, take a look at this page and realize this thing is giving me something that tells me how to solve the thyroid symptoms. At this stage, they can't, right? So if I were going to change it, which I would, the first thing I would do is, may I see your ad one more time? I want to sort of give you a quick headline thing here. And I would say, here is how to help common thyroid symptoms without using drugs or prescription medication. All right, so that would be the top headline, all right? So okay. May I see the page again now? So I'm just going to change your headline. You see the logic there? I'm changing the headline to match what they're attracted to in the ad. With the thought being, well, if they clicked it, that messaging, then they're going to respond to that messaging on the page. See? So now that we're looking at it, what is it that you're telling them to sign up for in this video?
A video. Yeah, here it is right down the bottom. So this, okay. I guess so, this video is on the different labs that they are not getting run by their traditional doctor.
Yeah. See, these guys are all like, I just want to know how to make myself feel better without taking a lot of drugs and stuff. And the video is like, hey, let's talk about labs for a minute. You see the disconnect there?
Yep.
So what we want to do is in the video that you're offering them a bribe, what are you telling them? Are you telling them how to feel better without the drugs and stuff?
I guess yeah. What they're missing of why they've gotten to that point.
The thing that they opt in for, does it fulfill on the promise made in the ad of here's information that'll help you alleviate these symptoms without drugs?
I guess not right away. There would be a step in between, so that's probably where it's breaking down.
Yeah, so if they give you their email address, do you send them information that tells them how to alleviate the symptoms without drugs?
Probably not immediately, no.
Okay, so we got to fix that because that's like, we know that's working, right? Your ad, I can't remember, someone looked at it and was like, hey man, that's a great click-through rate, right? So you're getting traffic, that's cool. You're getting inexpensive traffic, that's cool. That's all good, but now we got to fulfill on the promise to the ad. So if I were to build this, and if it were me, first thing I would do is I would go, let's pick a template actually within the Megaphone. I like Megaphone. I like this dude. By the way, Megaphone exists because I nagged them to death into creating it. So let's see, let's have a look at your templates. And let's take that third one over there that I want to have. Yeah, but I want a different color. I don't want it to have a dark background. So I don't want to like spend a lot of time messing with your colors, but go ahead and click on that sucker. You might even be able to change it.
This Applender one?
Yep, that's the one. You can just call it test or whatever. There might be another template that's for better purposes in here, but I just want to make the point, kind of show you the layout that has historically worked best for this type of thing. All right, so it's taking a little bit. So what we want to do is take your headline, and I forgot what it was that I've scripted out there for you, but here's how to solve thyroid problems without drugs and stuff. That's going to go where the survival of these frustrated pigeons headline is.
Okay.
You see that picture of an app? Now you're going to have a graphical representation of the report or video or information that they're going to get over there on the left. So you'll replace the phones with that graphical representation. Your copy down below here where it says use this tool, it will say something like, if you have thyroid problems and you suffer from these symptoms and you can't understand why because your lab reports look totally normal, this report is specifically for you, created for you, and designed by a medical professional. And then where it has the App Store stuff, that's where your opt-in button will go.
Okay.
Right? So you'll have a button that they can click that fires the opt-in form. And I think that'll outconvert like crazy the current version. So the problem is there's disconnect. That's it, right? Yep. If it was like, click here to learn about labs and stuff, it'd probably work, but they're not clicking there. So I would just do that. And it addresses the big thing that they're concerned about.
All right. Very good.
Boom! Ha! Victory is ours, baby. All right, man. Anything else? And if that's what's working, they're clicking on it, by the way. So start there and hammer that until it dries up, if it ever dries up. Thyroid stuff is a big deal, you know? So I wouldn't create 9 million lead magnets. If that's the one that brings you the ideal patients, put that in there and let's go.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Frank.
Doing it. My man, happy to help. Hot diggity. You don't want to mess with no thyroid stuff, Aurora. You sure don't. Okay, sweet. I got new contacts. I can almost read your comments in here, guys. Isn't that amazing? Okay. People are using tools that stopped development in 2014. Zach, I don't know what you're talking about there, but whatever. I do like Megaphone. It works. Do we have Brooke Castillo yet?
Well, no, Brooke, we don't have Brooke yet. She has gone MIA.
She is such a horrible person.
Can I just use that Southern accent?
Yeah, I think it's
For
fun.
the rest, I'm going to do a really poor job, though.
Yeah?
For the rest, no, I
think you
can't
gotta do it now.
Now I'm like a spotlight. She's gone MIA.
Has she, man, I built this whole thing to fix her letter.
Yeah,
I might
I'm sure
do it
she'll be
anyway
on.
without her.
You know, she's a very busy entrepreneur, so she's probably just finishing up a phone call or something right now. But in the interim, we do have 5 other guests, more guests. And so right now we're going to pull on Lisa Turner. So Lisa, if you can hear me, go ahead and turn your camera on and your audio on.
Guys, do you think we should I could shoot Brooke a video text right now and berate her? What do you guys think? Do you think, I would like to know your comments for Brooke, what you would like me to tell her for keeping us waiting as your fellow members so we can hassle her. It's so much fun. This lady is, you know, she's tough, really. That's the only reason I would even mess with her. Okay, are we ready for the next person, or should I mess with Brooke here?
Yeah, you have a second to mess with Brooke while we're
here we go. This is what you can expect as members, ladies and gentlemen. This is me. This is what you get when you pay a lot of money. I will totally mess with you. Okay, so we got the new caller stuff coming up, and that's all well and good. I last talked to her at 9:30. That's weird. We're going to do a video to Miss Castillo. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. How do I do video on this sucker? Damn it, the hell. Oh, I have to shoot the video first, don't I? Okay, hang on, y'all, while we're waiting on this caller. Okay, and I want to read some of your comments for Brooke. So if anyone would like to say anything to Brooke, now's the time. Brooke, this is Dr. Frank Kern. Obviously, you know, I invested so much time this morning. Really, I couldn't sleep all night in trying to determine how to best serve you and your business. And so many of your fellow members are here. I'm showing her the camera right now. Guys, so many of your fellow members are here. We're all just devastated that you left us hanging. It's really, really rough. Tim says, Brooke, where are you? You know, Tim, poor Tim. He can't even really go function throughout the rest of his day because you've really let us all down. So I hope you're happy. I'm deliberately going to give you bad advice now. Thanks. Okay, that'll teach her. I'll send this to Brooke. Aurora's giving the thumbs up signal to Sassy. I see you there waiting on us to get her act together. Nice, friendly-looking lady caller. This is new tech, so.
Lisa Turner.
Lisa, or can you
She's
hear
calling
me?
in from the United Kingdom.
I
She's been
can
a
hear.
member
This is
since
going to Brooke
October.
right now. Lisa, if you're not careful, I'll text you weird videos too.
And just so we know, Frank, she does have our campaigns in Infusionsoft. She's looking for the best way to deploy what the best campaign is.
Hot diggity. Let's do it. Look at that. I can totally see you. This is amazing how clear this is. Oh, I can't hear you though. So I think you might need to turn your mic on. I hear like background noise, but not her. Her mic is on, but I don't hear anything. Okay. Oh, hey, Lisa, you touched something and then the hissing went away. I see you talking, but I don't quite hear you. I think we're on the cusp of success. I wonder if your computer's trying to pick up a mic that's not hooked up.
What about that one?
Might be those.
That one?
Success.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear my speaking voice?
Yes.
Excellent.
Awesome.
This is my speaking voice. Okay. Okay, so where do you want me to start? I'm not quite sure where to start.
Service, man.
Okay. So I'm in this weird situation where all my normal avenues of making money are kind of shut down, other than the the internet, because my mum's got terminal cancer, so I can't. Normally, I make all my money by getting people to a big event, and I just get on stage and people throw money at me, and I don't even have to take my clothes off; it just happens. So, but I can't run. I know. It's just, it is like my natural way of making money is to just be on stage. I do okay on the internet, but normally it's been like a vehicle to get people into my events. So I'm running a mastermind, and I worked out that if I got 51 people in my mastermind at £197 a month, I would be golden. So that's what I would like some help with. I have a Facebook ad that I'm just looking at my metrics here. So in fact, let me
I've got terrible news.
Yeah.
This is probably not going to be that hard.
Oh, okay. Oh dear. Okay. So
it's not going to be hard at all. It should be fine because you already know how to sell it. So this is great.
Well, I don't know how to sell it. I don't think. Anyway, so I've got my Facebook ads. I think they're doing pretty well. Now, I will confess, I don't run any of this. I have a team who runs it. So you're going to probably ask me all sorts of questions, and I'm going to have to say I don't know. So my ads, I have a cost per lead. That's people getting onto my list. Of looking at the last week, so this week was 18p a lead. So that's pence, not cents.
Are you serious? That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's pretty good. I mean, I put for about £200 a week, £210 a week. I put about anywhere between, on a bad week it'll be 600 people. On a good week it'll be 1,000 people on my list every week, and that's been happening since last summer.
Okay.
So
what happens to them?
So we've been experimenting with different things. So the first thing that happens is they get offered a £7 tripwire. The most we ever sold in a really great week was 11 at £7. So we're still not even like on the first sale. We're not liquidating the ad spend. Then after that, we've tried a couple of things. So we did try an evergreen webinar. I ran the webinar live to begin with, and we got great conversions. The whole campaign converted at about just under 3%, which was pretty okay. It was pretty good. But then when we turned to evergreen, just nothing's happening. So the other thing we've tried.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Does that mean it's not converting at all?
I think we've sold 2 in the last 6 weeks since we turned to evergreen. Like 2 of the
and
programs.
It's the same presentation that you did live?
Exactly.
Are they showing up?
We have, I can tell you. So I have had, let me see, I'm just looking at the last 7 days. I had 7 live attendees out of 11 registrants. So about 36% saw the full webinar in the last week. I can change that so I can look forever.
So cool that you know this stuff. Okay,
well, I know where this bit is. But that's not the main thing I want to sell. I mean, that webinar sells a £77 product.
Okay, good. Okay.
So the thing I want to sell is my mastermind, which is $197 a month. And if I've got an average intake, like if I get 50 people in there and I keep them in there, I'm golden. And the thing that I have in my favor is, as well as being a demon at Facebook ads with quizzes, people get in my mastermind and they do one thing with me and they love me. I mean, it's natural, obviously, but they do stick around. Yeah, exactly. They can't help themselves.
I already do. I don't even know.
Oh, bless you. See? So, so I'm kind of thinking the campaign that got me in here would be maybe a good one, but I wondered if I could have your sort of top tips on how to implement that, or any one of the campaigns that you've popped in into my my Infusionsoft for me. So which of those campaigns would be the best?
What I would do if it was me and I had your skills, so what you've got is the ability to make an offer to a crowd. Right?
Yeah.
So you're very, very good at that because you've done it on stage so many times. So I would build a webinar that sells your continuity, and I would do that live. And the reason I do it live is because you did something live last time and it worked really, really good. So because you only need 50-something people, I would just do like 10 live webinars and just hammer it and get your initial bolus of members relatively quickly, right? And you can do 10 live webinars on literally do the exact same live webinar over and over again. I just got 100-something members this month doing the webinar that teaches the stuff for the path that all members get, by the way. So if you're, you've been here since October, so you might be like, what the hell are you talking about? It's a class.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Monday. You get it for free. Yeah, awesome. It's cool. It's for y'all. But that is basically a bribe to get people to join and try the membership. So I did, I think, like 7 webinars or something. And my webinars convert terribly, like 1% or something, right? Because I just don't pitch well on webinars. I teach forever. They're 2-hour webinars. I think the attendees are ready to kill themselves by the end. I think they buy just so they can get off without feeling bad, Yours is probably better because you convert a lot higher. So the first thing I do, man, is just create a live presentation, blast it out to your list over and over again. Hey, I'm going to do it again tomorrow. I'm going to do it again Wednesday, and just do it live. Once you validate that it works, then automate that sucker. Right?
Okay.
And then, then you have 2 choices. You can take the new leads that are coming in for essentially no real money, per week, 200 a week is awesome, and then put them through that webinar campaign, like using our automated webinar campaign that you've got, which would work really, really well. And then if they don't register or don't buy, put them through another campaign, such as what I showed you in December, which is Double Tap. It works perfectly for selling.
I like that. I thought you were going to suggest that, actually.
I would, but you're just so good at webinars, right? Like you're so good on stage.
I'm not. I'm good on stage. I'm not as good on webinars. I did try, and I did have one go at promoting this on a webinar back in October, and we sold, in round terms, 0. So that one really, I don't really know. That wasn't live. That was pre-record. So that one bombed. And I really don't know what went on there. I mean, we had good attendees. We had about 200 people show up for it. Like, we just ran it once the first time we just did a good full blast to the list, but it was just a pre-record, and then I jump on the end with questions. So
I do the whole thing live because you're used to selling live. You know what I mean? I wouldn't necessarily prescribe this to just anyone, but you've been on stage so much, so this is your natural habitat. Like, you might not even know it, but you could very well be pulling punches recorded because it sounds weird and you're self-editing and stuff. Where when you're live, you're probably not thinking about it at all, and you're just, boom, you're in there and you're crushing it because you've done it so many times over and over and over again, and it's always worked. So whenever you have something that worked, keep doing it, just do a live pitch that sells something cool. Now, if we're trying to map out like the rest of your life and everything, and be like, okay, listen, we got to learn how to do this recorded, but I want to get you to that first milestone, which is 51 members as soon as humanly possible. And the answer to that is live pitches. Over and over again. And people like them. So the trick is, even if like I've had, even in the last week where I did mine, I had one where we got, what was that one where we had really good attendance, like 600 people on, and I got 3 members or something. I didn't do a good job. Sometimes you don't. Doesn't matter. I did it over and over again and kept doing it. You know? So, that's the ticket. Do that.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, well, that was actually, it doesn't involve a lot of fancy automation, but it'll get you the members quicker, and we can do the automation later. Let's get the members and get paid.
Okay, awesome. Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Super duper is what I'm talking about. Now, I got to tell you something. I just got to tell everybody something. This doesn't count as medical advice to seek professional medical care, but on 2 separate occasions, I've personally witnessed this. I have one friend, her name is Susan. She had breast cancer. I have another friend whose name is Luther. He had stage 4 lung cancer. Both of these people were administered something called Phoenix Tears, concentrated medical marijuana oil. It is not recreationally pleasant. It is not the type of thing one would want to use to become intoxicated because it is incredibly strong and the effects are, frankly, too much. Both of them are cancer-free. Luther, stage 4, was dying. His doctor now calls him his miracle patient. I know that they took the Rick Simpson medical marijuana oil because I'm the one who had it made for them and gave it to them. So, consult with doctor, use that information however you want to. Here in California, it's of course not criminalized, especially for medical purposes. It was a game changer for both of those people. I witnessed this personally. So, completely off topic, but in the event of life-threatening illness like that, it's certainly worth considering. Which is not what you signed up to hear from me about, but maybe we'll help somebody by giving that information. You never know. Luther wouldn't be here if he didn't have it. I can tell you, saw it firsthand. He's up and at 'em, and I don't mean he's in remission. It's done. His doctor says it was definitely that oil that saved his life. So, whatever. It's anecdotal. Seek medical profession. Don't listen to me. I'm not a real doctor, but if you're curious about it, Google it, and maybe it can help you. Okay. Who next? Completely
I
irrelevant.
actually got Brooke, and so I'm waiting to see.
Oh, well, maybe we don't
her.
want to talk to Brooke now, guys. What do you think? I don't know. Maybe, maybe.
We've moved on, Brooke.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I met
Sorry.
someone new. I've met
Her
other
name is Lisa Turner.
clients. Yes. She's got a cool accent, Brooke. What do you got? Brooke is so mean. If she were here, she'd beat us. That's the thing.
You know what? Remember when I accidentally put her name down as Savage?
Yeah.
Brooke Savage?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. We thought her last name was Savage internally, and we
That's
went
her
to the
name.
mastermind and called her Brooke Savage. She was like,
she's-
what are you talking about? 'Cause
She's
it's
here. Y'all be cool.
not her last name.
She's on.
Brooke,
I can see her.
Tired
we
of
love
waiting
you,
for
Brooke
y'all.
Savage.
Everybody be cool as Brooke. Yo, just calm down. She's here. Hey, we were just talking about how much we really like talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell, man?
What's up?
Gosh. Were you getting money this morning? Is that what happened?
Listen, I told you guys
I'm
I
not
had to
going to.
teach till 11:30.
Oh, I
But
didn't
you
know
men
that.
don't
You might have
listen.
told me.
I should have told
didn't-
Aurora.
I don't
She
know.
would have known.
Yeah. I don't even know what you're talking about. Who are you again?
See what I'm saying?
Hungry. Yeah. What? What are we talking about?
I need to make more money.
Dude.
Can you? Will you help me with my
Yeah,
stuff?
you're about to. Yes, I can help you.
Yes.
Look, how do I share my stuff, Sassy D? I can hear the echo. I think I'm on coming through your speakers, and it's coming back through your mic, by the way. Quit ruining it for everybody, Brooke. What's
Oh,
going
I'm
on
doing
here?
that?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's see here. I need to. Yeah, I need to show them my screen and jump.
So just do whatever you do.
Oh, okay. All right, let's see, homies. All right, I'm going to try to. I have built you slides and stuff.
What?
Turn screen share on. All right. Yeah, I figured. Okay, so this is going to, y'all at home, if you see my screen, it's going to be like that weird thing here.
You don't need to share your screen.
I don't need to share my screen?
No, you just need to
Oh.
output that to your screen.
Never mind. Okay, I turned screen share off. I probably broke it. All right. So now, Brooke, I'm not going to be able to see you, but now I've got the slides up. This is so everyone can see your letter and everything. Yeah. Can you hear the?
I can't hear.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's a perfectly nice looking slide. Okay, so let's do this. Would you read, Brooke, the URL of your sales letter to Aurora, and then Aurora, would you put it in chat so everyone can kind of see it? I've got pictures of the sales letter, but folks at home might want to kind of go along and read along with this.
TheLifeCoachSchool.com/join.
TheLifeCoachSchool.com
Yeah.
/join, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, give us some background on this sucker. What's the dealio?
Can you hear me okay, or is the
Yeah, I can hear. I can just hear myself a little bit. It's like coming. Do you have speakers on at home that might be feeding back through your mic?
No.
Weird. Oh well.
I don't know how to change any of this shit. So you just tell me what you want me to do. I'm in. But this
Just
is for
send
my
money.
membership. This is for my membership site. Wait,
Okay.
This is the sales page for my membership site. What else?
And how many members you got? Is it making money? How did you grow it? Give us the backstory. Stop being such a problem. Man,
I'm worried about my echo. I don't know how to fix it.
don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay. So I have about 350 members. It's $297 a month. It's I run a life coach school. So basically I provide them with coaching. I do it exactly like Frank does. I send them a bonus box with 4 books in them and a USB key. And then every month they get a coaching book and a podcast follow along study guide. So it's been amazing. I did the first call on Monday, and we had like almost everybody on the call, and we're doing another one here on Thursday. So my goal is to get 1,000 people in there, and I've only done low hanging fruit so far. What else?
So for those of folks who are new to the lingo, low-hanging fruit means people who are on Brooke's list. And so now I think our mission is to get cold people. Yeah?
Yes.
There.
They're saying
Cool.
my sound
Okay.
is too low.
Uh-oh.
It's going on.
Why did you break the internet?
I swear
What
to
happened?
God. I'm going to blame
I
Tyler.
can hear you
we
pretty
blame
good.
Him? Okay, good.
No. Yeah, he's fine. Okay, so the people at home can pull up the letter. I've got the screenshots of the letter, so I've got some thoughts going into the edits that I have made. I haven't rewritten the letter, I've just sort of made points and stuff, so I'm going to just talk about those for you, Brooke, as well as for people at home. So Brooke's letter is working now, obviously, which is awesome. The challenge is it's probably not going to work for cold people. These are people who don't know Brooke, right? So current version is built for people who are indoctrinated. The mission is to get complete strangers to join this coaching program. So in doing that, we got to think about, okay, what is going to be on their minds, right? Because the ones who know Brooke already are like, yay, it's Brooke. Okay, that's
Right.
easy. That's why we call it low-hanging fruit. But now we have to figure out, okay, the strangers, what are their biggest objections going to be? And my guess, personally, I don't know, so I'm going to ask you. I'll tell you my guess, and then maybe I'm right or not. I'm assuming these are going to be women who, A, have tried everything in their minds, right? They obviously haven't tried everything, but in their minds they're thinking, I've tried everything, which typically means like I tried one thing for 10 minutes and it didn't work. They might think nothing works. It works for other people, but I'm incurable, so to speak. I'm thinking they probably have huge self-doubt and self-esteem and confidence issues as it comes to the area in which they want to be coached. And I think they're wondering if coaching itself works at all. So that's 100%
Wait, hang on. Let me just
guesses.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Is it my
I can.
turn
I hear
yet?
you good. No, it's all about me. What do you think about me, though?
So here's what I think that they know coaching works, they just don't know if they can do it. Right? So that's
So the strangers now, not the people who are indoctrinated, but the new audience, is that still
Okay.
the case? I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just wanting to clarify.
yeah.
Do you think it's the case? Okay, so they do
Yeah.
they know coaching works. Okay, I'm making notes. So would you say self-doubt is the number one killer?
Yes.
Do they believe that yet?
What do you mean? Do they believe that it's them?
Yeah, or are they still looking to blame something else?
No,
well.
they think they blame themselves. They think they don't have what it takes.
Okay, sweet. All right,
It's
good.
like they
So
have
I
all the
made those
knowledge,
notes.
but they can't apply it.
Actually, that's, I've never heard that before. So many
Right.
people do that. It's like, I have the courses and everything makes sense, and I know the information is accurate, but I can't do it. Like, okay, whatever. All right, so here's the deal, and this is not necessarily for you, but I'm trying to make this beneficial to you and everybody simultaneously. So the first thing you got to do is you got to understand reality and know your situation. So reality, accurate thinking, I like to call it. So accurate thinking tells us that continuity is hard to sell. It just is. Doesn't mean impossible. It's worth the work, but it's harder to sell something for $297 a month in continuity than it is for like $1,000 up front. It's weird, and many times it just is. So, especially if they don't know you, right? So we got some work to do, especially at a higher price point. So Brooks is $300 a month. It's no easy task to talk a complete stranger out of $300 a month. That's why it's work. That's why we get rewarded so well for doing this. And I think we know that without really any debate about it, that it's pretty hard to convert. By pretty hard, I mean it's very hard to convert first-time, unindoctrinated visitors who don't know Brooke, right? So if we bought traffic from cold media strangers and sent them to a sales letter that says, give me $300, that's probably the hardest way to go about getting clients. So with that said, we got two options, right? Option number one is to create a funnel, the traditional funnel, which is, I have a mouse here? I don't. I'll just read it to you off the screen. Step one, send them to an opt-in bribe for free information. Step two, send them cool stuff by email, build the trust. Eventually make them an offer, hopefully relatively quickly. And then for all the ones who don't take you up on the offer, put them in a super system, which is our inner circle lingo for a series of automated campaigns that continues to make the offer from multiple angles. That's option number one. That's a good option. Option number two is what we're going to test today. And that is create a native ad style educational letter that makes the offer and tries to get the member up front with the understanding that it probably won't get that many. And then retarget the people who went to that educational letter with a letter that is direct like the one that you have. Now, does that make sense to you, Brooke?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's what I want to ask you. So I'm definitely going to do a full funnel before they get to the sales letter. Do you think that once they go through the indoctrination series, that sales letter is going to be okay? Or do you think I should completely rewrite it?
No, I think your current sales letter is probably okay. I mean, we can mess with it a little bit.
We just need to indoctrinate them first.
Yeah. So if we're sending strangers to the current letter, it might work, but it probably won't, so we might as well fix it. So the question is, well, why, and likely version one, the whole full funnel is most efficient, but I think we're going to work on version two. I think we should work on version two first, which is to build an educational letter and then just retarget the folks who see it and don't buy. And the reason I'm choosing that is because this direct letter that is built to sell to indoctrinated people, it's already written. Right. So it's working. We know it works. So we already have one major piece of the puzzle. So that's pretty sweet. The only thing left to do is to build an educational letter, and we can actually build it based on the direct letter that already works. So,
okay, so we're
that's why I'm like
cold traffic to the
educational version, which I'm going to show you. Yeah, we're going to rewrite your direct version to make it educational,
and then we're going to retarget them. There's no opt-in on that page.
No opt-in. They can just buy on that page. Most won't. It's fine.
Okay, got it.
But we're gonna pitch them, and then the ones who don't buy, we're gonna follow up with direct pitches.
Got it.
So the reason I'm choosing this option, by the way, is you can have it running like tomorrow, right?
Okay.
So you don't have to build a bribe and a funnel. We can just test it, and you've got capital, and you're mentally at a place where you don't care if it takes a couple of iterations to test it. So I'm like, hey, let's just get it cracking. All right.
Let me ask you really quick one question, because I'm annoying that way. Do we
no.
Do we put the educational letter on the site and then leave the sales? Okay. So we take this one and put it on the behind the scenes kind of.
Yep.
Okay.
We do, or just make it where they can't access the direct one from the educational one. You would just change the header links, right? In fact, let me show you.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah, because I've anticipated your questions because I've known you so long. See, so I'm ready to go, man. So the first thing we got to do is we got to say, okay, what's on their minds, And my thing, I was like, they're maybe thinking, does coaching work? Now Brooke knows them better than me, so she says that is not on their minds. That's good. So then the question becomes, well, when does it make sense to get a coach, right? Is coaching going to work for me? Am I going to be able to overcome the self-doubt? Is there hope for my situation? So if they have all of this stuff, then we can take that knowledge that their main objection is it works for other people, but it doesn't work for me, and we can talk to that state of mind from an educational perspective.
Okay.
So this is a screenshot of the direct letter that is working now, right? So I've just taken screenshots and made little notes for you guys. I'm going to just dictate changes. So y'all at home, we sent you a link to Brooke's functional letter now. So this is just pictures of it, so it makes it a little easier for me to keep up with. So the first thing we want to do is our ad is going to say something like, let's see, I had it in my mind, but now I'm revising it because of you say that they do believe coaching works.
It works for
The ad
me,
might
not
say
them,
something like-
right?
Yeah, they don't think it'll work for them, but they think it works in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have they
It's
tried
only you
coaching
that doesn't
before?
think it works, Frank.
Yeah, no, I think it works. I sell it. I'm just thinking that they might be skeptical, because they're cold. So I'm thinking cold equals not indoctrinated
Yeah,
to
yeah.
coaching
Well,
at all.
that's
But it's-
true.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of the people that I'm going to attract are going to be people that have read a lot of self-help stuff, been exposed to a lot of coaching stuff, but have never really believed that they could apply it and make changes in their life.
So one angle that I want to test is the angle of when does it make sense to X,
Okay.
right? So when does it make sense to hire a financial planner? When
Got
does
it.
it make sense to call in a consultant? And in this case, we might make the header of this sucker, when does it make sense to finally use a coach? And then we could have, in parentheses, as a subhead, especially if you've tried everything else in the past,
Okay.
right?
I love
So
it.
we would change that headline instead of "Would you like me to coach you?" to that. Now your ad, by the way, that's driving traffic would say, new article, when does it make sense to hire a coach, especially if you've tried everything else in the past?
Got it.
So now you have that message to market match. So you'll notice in my screenshot here, I have number 1. We would want to change these header links on the
Okay.
page that's showing this, where they couldn't go to Coach with Brooke and hit the direct letter.
Okay.
Right? We want to take that away. We should also maybe take away over drinking and overeating and only have them able to see your home and your podcasts,
Okay.
right? So they can get more information, or maybe even not have any navigation at all.
Can I
Preferably.
just create a separate sales or a separate page, like
Yep.
what's it called? Click links, whatever I'm using?
A clicklinks.biz, yes.
No.
You totally can. Click
Something
funnels.
ClickFunnels. Okay, so I'll make
Click
that a
funnels.
ClickFunnels. Okay.
That damn Russell Brunson and all of his millions of dollars he's making with that app.
It's
Send me
so
some money,
good.
Russell.
It's so
is really
good.
awesome.
Okay, so I'll just
I
create a
know.
one-page letter on there. Okay.
And we're just going to rewrite this mofo a little bit. Okay,
do
so
it.
now, so number 2 was the headline. So we've got that. So let me look at my notes here, because I actually made notes this morning. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is kind of bond with them and build up their self-confidence. So I've written like a little draft copy here, just in longhand, and where your copy says, "I've got you covered," if you're someone who studied self-help, et cetera, I kind of want to expand on that.
Okay.
So I would try the typical Gary Halbert opening,
Okay.
which is something like, "Dear friend, if you're even considering hiring a coach, then it probably does make sense to do it, assuming you've got the right coach and you're clear on what you want to accomplish. Here's why." So that's typical Gary Halbert style. If you want to get big result, this is the most important letter you've ever read. I'm just rephrasing it to be more educational. And from there,
Okay, wait,
I
can
would
you
then-
just say it one more time?
oh man, we recorded it, so
If
I
you're
don't remember it
considering
verbatim.
hiring a coach, you probably should.
It probably does make sense to hire
Okay.
one, assuming you're crystal clear on what you want to accomplish. Here's
Got
why.
it. Got it. Okay.
So we're taking that. So our first mission here is to build up that confidence in them, because they beat the hell out of themselves every day, and it's we all tell ourselves, unless we consciously don't do it, we tell ourselves all kind of stupid lies about our insufficiencies, et cetera. So the next thing we want to do, which is part 4 here, is actually it's kind of between 3 and 4, is we want to build them up a little bit more.
okay.
And I might have some copy that says, as a matter of fact, you're probably closer to, I don't know, success is a little too generic, but so let's just sort of put an asterisk by that. So, in fact, you're probably closer to success than you might think. Consider this. You already study personal development. You already think about coaching. You already are dedicating energy, effort, and time to improvement. You may not realize it, but that makes you part of a fraction of 1% of the entire world that even has the discipline to do what you've done already. It might seem like you've tried everything and failed, but in reality, you're, I would use the football analogy, you're at the 99-yard line, but that's probably not the best metaphor to use for a female audience.
Right.
So, but you get the point, right? In reality, you're
So
closer
good,
than you realize. So now we're sort of overcoming that, right? So now by number 4, what I want to do is benefit or build the value of the benefits of a master coach. So you've got having a master coach is the best way to get results. I would start saying things like, everybody knows that having a good coach is critical to success. You already know, and then benefit of coaching, benefit of coaching, benefit of coaching. Okay. Right? So maybe like 5 things. So what you've got here, I'm just expanding on your point in number 4, which is having a master coach is the best way to get results you want personally and professionally.
Okay.
I just want to get more there. Like, okay, how? But I want to use language like you already know and everybody agrees, right? To make it a no-brainer. So we're no longer questioning whether coaching works. It is when does it make sense for them to get one, right? Okay. So next thing I want to do, and that's maybe 4 sentences and some bullets, nothing big, is I want to start breaking into the problem. So I would have, in point number 5 here, you'll see I've got it in the middle of the page, I want to have a subhead here.
Okay.
And I want to say, but there's a problem, right? And I would say something like, and so that's the subhead, and then I'd say something like, there are several. First of all, good coaches are extremely expensive, but generally regarded as worth it. The problem isn't necessarily in the cost. The problem is, how do you know the coach can actually help you? How do you know that it makes sense to even hire a coach in the first place? How do you know that even the coach might have a great track record of helping other people? How do you know that coach is going to be able to help you specifically? And then we end that block with something like, first, let's find out if it even makes sense to hire a coach in the first place. Right? Now remember, this is a very indirect educational letter, so we're coming from a very soft sell. So now I'll move on. And then, so what I want to do now is I want to use this content that you have here as like a framework for education. So we've just sort of ended on, let's find out if it even makes sense to hire a coach in the first place. Instead of saying first you need to decide, I would maybe have like a little subhead or even put this in some sort of a graphic box. Okay. And it might say something like X steps to knowing if it makes sense to hiring a coach, or the should I hire a coach checklist type of thing, right? Not the best copy there, but you get the point, right? I'm trying to give you the framework of it. Okay, so the first thing I would do is where you're saying first you need to decide what you most want to work on in your life.
Yep.
I would say something like first get crystal clear about the problem. So step 1, identify the real issue.
Okay.
And then I might say something like, I want to be quote unquote successful isn't really a goal. The first thing you need to do is understand what it is exactly you want help with. Do you want to lose weight? If so, how much? By when? Why do you want to lose it? Do you want to quit drinking? If so, by when? Et cetera, right? So like all of these things that you've got, these questions, these are actually really good. They're fine. I just might expand a little bit on them to make that more content-y.
Content-y,
and then and then your bottom of this page where it says second, you need to stop doing what isn't working. That makes perfect sense. And I would want to even use this to invalidate other options, right? So I might say step 2, identify what doesn't work and stop doing it, right? And I might begin this by saying something like, the idea that one thing is going to work for everybody is just silly. Every single person is different. We think differently. We have different needs. That's why finding the right coach is a perfect idea, because it's a tailor-made program that is specifically for you. Think about this. We make plans, and then I'm just literally going to steal your copy here. Think about this. We make plans, we get motivated, we start taking action, and then we stop. So I might start invalidating other options. Have you gone to every seminar in the world and you still don't have the results you want? Well, guess what? That probably isn't a good fit for you, right? Doesn't mean the seminar folks are bad. It just means it's not for you. Have you bought countless books and listened to countless tapes, etc.? So I just want to invalidate other things they might be considering through this little process, right? So you're kind of doing it sort of already. I just want to do it a little meaner. Not meaner, that's not the right phrase at all.
No, I hear what you're
more
saying.
aggressively.
Yeah.
Okay.
Invalidate the other options they may consider, right?
But do it as content, right? Because it really is content. It's like, look, dude, it's dumb to keep doing the same stuff you're doing. You ain't going to find it by going to Amazon and buying yet another book about vision boards. It's not another weekend seminar, right? You've probably been to the weekend seminars already. And sure, maybe they helped a little bit, but you're not there. They've gotten you to the 99-yard line, but they're not going to take you to the 100-yard line, or otherwise you'd already be there, right? Okay. So that's the kind of thing I mean. Okay, so the next thing is down in your copy is you've got this little block here about doing it alone, and I would make that as a third step. Step 3, understand we can't do it alone.
Got it.
Right? And I would maybe even anchor like really hardcore emotions like loneliness, right? Say, think about it. As women, we spend a tremendous amount of time, energy, and effort making sure that we don't end up alone. People are not supposed to be alone. We are supposed to collaborate and work together to solve problems. Very few breakthroughs in the history of mankind have ever been achieved by one person working alone without help. And maybe if you can substantiate this, say even Einstein had something, or even the great people had a coach or whatever, but really demonize doing it alone. So I want to expand on this one thing, and then maybe say, hey, if you're clinging to the belief that you can do this by yourself, you should not hire a coach, to sort of do some disqualification as well. Okay. So here now, in our next thing, and hopefully this is helpful to you guys at home, this little presentation of my slides here. I didn't want y'all to have to watch me scroll through Brooke's letter. Okay, so next you have this section where it says the final thing you do is commit. You need to do is commit. I just want to take that out. We're going to use it in the PS.
Okay.
So that's why I have moved this section down. So mentally, we're just going to get rid of that for now. Okay. And our next step is, let me show you something on this screen, actually. There is a part in your copy that I don't have a picture of that's right under this thing where you're talking about I've created a program for you, etc. And you say, I'm that coach.
Yes.
Okay. I want to leave that in this part, so we're here, you're saying, hey, you can't do it. Oh, whoops, sorry. We're here, we're saying you can't, here it is, right here, in the red square. After you expand against doing it by yourself, I want you to leave in this part where you say, when you get a positive and motivated coach, you can rely on her to change your pattern, etc. I'm that coach. We want to end with that verbiage and then pick it up here where it says exactly what you're getting, because this block of copy is useful. I just want to change that subhead to say, here's exactly how I can help you. Right? So all we're doing is now leading into the pitch. And everybody at home, I want you to make a note, assembly line copy. Okay? So what we have here from the point of here's exactly I can help you to the end of the letter is the pitch for the coaching. And we can bolt that onto all types of fronts of the letter. So what we just started was an educational front end of a pitch, which is here's how to know when it makes sense to hire a coach. And we're going to now bolt on this pitch to it. Guess what? Brooke can create 10 articles about here's some content about coaching and bolt on the same pitch to it. It's called assembly line copy. So that, and I'm that coach, and here's how I can help you. We can use everything from this point forward over and over again through multiple sales letters that have an educational front end. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I think this will be helpful for people listening too. That educational letter that you just went through, is there a structure that you have in your mind that you just followed?
Probably, but I didn't do it consciously. I just read your letter and I was like, oh, dude, okay, we can reframe it a little bit like this.
I mean, from what I understood based on the stuff you've sent, it's like you identify the question, have a great headline, you identify the problem, and then you talk about you disqualify the other options, and then I talk about how I'm the solution, right?
Yeah, so we give 3 pieces of content. So it's basically we frame the content. I guess actually we acknowledge the question.
Okay.
Does it make sense to hire a coach even though you've tried everything in the past? So we acknowledge the question in the beginning. We build self-esteem by saying, actually, you know what, you're closer than you realize. You're smarter than everyone. You've already done this work. 99% of the population wouldn't even know what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
And then we give some content, and content segues into pitch.
Got it.
So if we wanted to framework it, it would be restate question, build self-esteem by pointing out their accomplishments already, give content, segue to pitch, right?
Okay, that's really helpful.
That would be.
Okay, cool.
Yay, okay. So now here's the pitch, right? So your pitch is solid, it ain't bad. I would just change it to here's exactly what you're getting and then leave your copy alone for now. It's working, so why not? It's more than this coaching, that subhead is fine. One thing I want to do is I want to expand on this. Right? Okay. Because you're really taking the angle of this is for people who already are indoctrinated to personal development or into it, but you just, you've done the work, you're just not quite there. I'd expand on this. So I would maybe even take this and put it in like a Johnson box or something and say, this program, I would maybe even reword that and say, if you have already learned personal development concepts and read, quote unquote, every book out there, and if you've already been to the seminars, this is specifically designed for you. And I'd maybe have some bullet points, right? I might say, hey, listen, this isn't for just, this isn't for your average Joe housewife who saw an Oprah episode and decides she wants to be a coach. This is for people who have bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. If this sounds like you, then this is exactly what you're looking for. So all I want to do is expand on that a little bit. And you see under it where you say, listen, if you've listened to my podcasts and read all these books and stuff, I would expand on the fact that you've got all these podcasts and you've got all these followers. So instead of if you listen to my podcast, I'd say, maybe you're here because you're one of the 47,384 people who tune in religiously to my podcast every single week and growing, et cetera, right? So I want to just build a little bit of that credibility there. It's not a make or break thing, but we might as well use it because you got it, all right? So then the rest of your letter here, we just leave everything else alone. So we're just kind of jamming that in there, right where I'm drawing the box here. Then we're just going to sort of scroll on down. I want to expand a little bit on what this feedback is. So you say, hey, this is a new offering based on your feedback. I might say something like, I might build another Johnson box and say, like, here's why I created this. And it might say, as you probably know, I've got X amount of books, I've got X amount of podcast people, and every single day I work in the trenches to help people exactly like you, and this is what people are telling me they want. If any of this sounds like you, you're not alone, and just give them some of that feedback you mentioned, of what people want, right? So we just want to expand a little bit on that. It's not a make or break thing, but if, you could leave it alone, but might as well try to make it super cool. All right, so then we're moving on down the letter, and then this is all good. Right here, it's just formatted weird. So let's just not make it centered because it's harder to read, So in case you get some old middle-aged grumpy guys like me, I don't need bifocals. Brooke, yesterday I went to the eye doctor. They said you don't need bifocals. You just need these special lenses that have 2 different areas of focus in them. And I'm like,
no, this is what my lady said. She said you have problems seeing up close and far, so we're going to do one eye that you see far and one eye up close.
Yeah, definitely not.
Fuck that. I said
it's
no.
It's just different. It's just glasses that have different areas of focus. It's certainly not bifocals, though. That's crazy. Yeah. No. So anyway, just change your formatting and your gold. And then now,
so don't do anything centered.
Yeah. The centering, it makes it hard to read. Okay. Right. So like even it almost looks like someone messed up the web design, and it was a good looking site, and now it looks like a blog that someone doesn't know what they're doing. Right. So just left justify it and you'll be good.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And now remember when we were talking about commitment and I was like, hey, let's move this section down?
Yes.
In the letter? I want to put it down here as a PS. I say, PS, there's one final step, and it doesn't matter who you use a coach, and that step is commitment, right? And then I would talk about the commitment. And maybe even just take the same copy you've got and just stick it in there, right? So they're already kind of interested, and now boom, let's sort of twist the knife and be like, hey, look, it's up to you, you got to be committed. But I don't want to stop there. I want to use some good old-fashioned clothes stacking like what I send in the welcome kit.
Yeah.
So I've written down here, the first thing we might want to do is deconstruct the price, and say, PPS, one of the biggest challenges that people really have is they lie to themselves. For example, a big myth we have that we tell ourselves every day is, I don't have time. Well, let's talk about that just for a minute. How much time are you spending in coffee shops? How much time are you spending watching television? How much time are you spending looking at Facebook? Working together and solving these problems and having these breakthroughs in your life really legitimately, realistically only takes X amount of hours per day. And then let's make it a choice. Which would you rather have? Like it's all the stuff we do in the clothes stacking, right? Which would you rather have? Which would you rather do? Hit refresh on Facebook to see if someone liked your latest picture of a house cat? Or be free of all of these negative emotions, And then we could do the other one, which is jump from a year from now. So PPS, chances are you've probably been working on these issues for years. What if 1 year from today the problem was solved? What would your life be like? Imagine that you no longer have the stress, the overeating, the worry, whatever it may be. How is your family like? And just do that. And then I really want to do apples to oranges with the price deconstruction.
Okay.
Which is, it's $2.97, which is whatever, $3 a day or $4 something a day. And be like, hey, this is $3 a day or whatever it is. What else are you going to get for $3 a day? And then it's a cup of coffee or it's a latte at Starbucks or whatever, or solve the problem. Which would you rather have?
Got it.
Make the choice right now and just boom, hammer them.
You don't think that, I have a couple questions. The first one is, do I have a video at the end going through everything, or do I drop the video?
I would leave it. Why not? It's okay. And the first thing I want to point out is this probably isn't going to convert like gangbusters.
Right.
Because they're ice cold.
Right.
But now we can go back and use your direct letter and even use this video as a video sales letter and retarget the people who read it but didn't enroll with all manner of retargeting, just like you're doing now. And the reason I built this, by the way, is because this morning when I was like, hey, do your retargeting ads work? Because Brooke's running ads right now to the current version of this letter, but they're not cold. They're retargeted visitors, and the ad is working. So I'm like, okay, if we know retargeting works, we just need to come up with more ability to get people to retarget. So that's what this is.
Okay, cool. And you don't think it's too long? You just have me make it longer, so obviously not. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's okay, because you got to think of who do you want, right? Yeah, it's too long if it's some kid that doesn't really care about the problem, but if you're dealing with a lady who's got these serious issues and wants to fix them, and she's tried everything, then it probably isn't too long,
All right, and my last question is, do you like it better as a sales letter like this, or should I turn it into what looks like a blog post?
I'd turn this one into what looks like a blog post.
Okay. But I keep the enroll button at the end?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes. You're not going to get a ton, but you'll get some.
Yeah.
So, hey, some better than none. So it'd be crazy not to. Like some folks will be like, yeah, man, this is simple. Who gives us $2.97 a month? Whatever, who cares?
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You see the things we do. I tell you what, man. What did you have to do? I had no idea you were on until 11:30. You didn't tell me that. Did you get money?
I always get money.
That's so great.
That's my weight loss group.
It.
That's my $12,000 weight loss group.
Awesome. That's
so
pretty
great.
good.
But I'm going to make a lot more money now, so this is cool.
But what was it you told me? I was like, stop being so bossy. And you were like, I'd stop being so bossy if you'd stop being so fat. Such a nice lady. It was the greatest comeback I've ever heard,
That was private.
I love it. It was funny, though. It was awesome. I was like, that is so great. Oh, my gosh. That's really funny.
All right.
Okay.
Sweet.
Well, that's it.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
I'll see you in a little bit.
I think my site was down. Sorry, guys. There's something going on with my site, so they weren't able to see it. Oh, well.
Oh, I'm glad see, this is why I take the screenshots.
I know that you were very professional.
Yeah, this is what.
I really appreciate it. That's good. I'll send it to you when it's done and let you know what my conversion rate goes up to.
Yeah, so it might not be good, but it's the retargeting where you're going to make the money. We're just trying to get them to raise their hand and say, I'm interested in coaching. That's all.
Okay, so that's actually, before you leave, how do I measure the success of this? It is still by how many people buy?
Yeah, so you clone your direct letter.
Okay.
And in your, what are you using to process the orders? Infusionsoft or something?
Ontraport, yeah.
Ontraport, cool. So what I do, and I'm sure you can do it in Ontraport, is every thing that I want to really track, I will create a separate product ID for it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's the exact same product, but I just know every sale of that product ID came from this retargeting, right?
Okay.
So that's it.
So, okay, so let me just make sure. I'm going to test how many people buy cold, but then I'm also going to test how many people that I retarget from this specific letter buy the second round, right? The second touch
Yes,
point.
and my guess is that if you don't retarget, it won't be profitable. So
Right,
it's
right.
just all we're doing is using this. Yeah. So you got
Okay.
retargeting has to be a part of the strategy.
Okay. So my numbers need to be good on the second touch point, third touch point,
Yeah.
fourth touch point. Okay. Sweet.
Just like everything else, same old thing.
I love money. Thank you.
Me too. It's the greatest thing ever. Love it. Okay. It was good to talk to
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank
I'm going to help
you.
some more of our
Bye.
homies. See you later. Tell you, that's the kind of thing you got to be prepared for Brooke Castillo, ladies and gentlemen. She does not mess. Is it Castillo or Castillo?
Castillo.
Castillo.
You
gotta
gotta say
do
it
it.
with the
Castillo.
accent.
Che cazzo fai a Castillo? That was very profane in Italian. If anyone speaks Italian, please
Yeah, it was.
don't. Sorry about that. I forgot that some people might actually speak the language. That's the only phrase I know in Italian, which is horribly profane. Okay. Ooh, Nick.
All right, so we have on next Paul.
Okay.
So Paul, if you can hear me, please unmute yourself and turn your video on.
Naturally, we have someone who speaks Italian here, Massimo. Sorry, man.
It's not your turn quite yet, Massimo, but it will be shortly.
Yeah,
Want him to
he's
get
like
confused.
Grande Frank, and I'm like, oh boy. My man Paul has joined the room.
Awesome.
Should be pronounced Pawl. Where'd Paul go? Did we lose Paul? Where's Paul? Oh, he's getting his microphone. Okay, cool. So I'm going to just see here.
Can you hear me?
I can. I can't see you, but you sound like a disembodied voice, and it's kind of soothing. Oh, almost. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have the hallucinogenic screen share. This is awesome. This is the hall of mirrors of screen share. So I can see your screen, Paul, but now I can't hear you. All right.
There you go.
Oh, there it is. Oh, perfect.
All right.
Hello, kind sir. How are you?
Calling you from Toy Town,
All righty.
home of Fisher Price Toys, East Aurora, New York.
That sounds good.
So you always talk
All right,
about
man.
Fisher Price, so figured
I
you wanted to
use
learn
that
it.
as a term. Make it Fisher Price easy and simple to use.
Right.
I'll tell you about this, guys, when we're wrapping up. I'm about to start a major software development program to the tune of $250,000, and a lot of that expense is keeping it Fisher Price simple to use. And I'm building it because of y'all, to help you guys, and of course help
There you go.
everybody else. But I'll thank you all for the inspiration. Dude, what's going on? How may I be of service, sir?
So my target market is accountants, okay? And so I have two big ideas, I guess, if you will. One is that their clients their clients see them as expensive bean counters, and what they really want is a trusted advisor. And the other idea comes from Richard Koch's book, Simplify. I don't know if you've read that or not. But
That is why I'm building the software application. Yes, I have.
So he talks about how Boston Consulting Group got started. And what that was is a merger of marketing and high finance. Okay. So what we're trying to do is create this platform for accountants where I have a partnership with a CPA that has lots of experience building large firms. So he's available for coaching. I have another partnership with, I think someone turn on your camera. Turn your camera on. I think it's on. But
Me?
no, I get a text
Oh.
from Tyler that says turn my camera on. I assume it's on. I
Oh,
see my
yeah.
picture.
Yeah, we can't see you. I think people are just having to watch me listen right now, which is probably exciting. Yeah.
Okay, my camera is on. But
Oh,
there you
hey, it might be trying. You go like this, sometimes it works better, I found.
I don't know.
Do that.
I see myself on this screen. But
No, I don't see you.
you don't see me. I don't know why. Turn camera off, turn mic off. says it's on, and I see a picture of both me and you on my screen, so I'm not sure why it doesn't.
Oh, they can see you. Okay, that's cool. All right, so they can see you. I can't, but it doesn't matter about me.
Okay.
That's all well and good, but everyone else can, so that's cool. Okay,
So anyway,
hang on here. I'm just taking notes. So, market as CPAs.
right. Accounting firms, yeah, but mostly CPA firms, yeah. So
Okay.
what, the idea is that, have these partnerships with these people. One group provides these high finance tools that most CPA firms don't have access to, things like cost segregation and ESOPs and, how to do business valuations and really expensive things that most CPAs don't take the time, or they don't have enough clients to really get certified to do that type of work. And then I help the CPA with marketing, positioning his firm so that kind of differentiates from the commodity type firm that just does taxes and payroll and things like that. So we're trying to position them as somebody unique, and I offer their clients marketing. So the 8 clients of the CPA firm, we do marketing coaching, group coaching for their clients, and we also offer them the ability to offer their clients these high value services as well on the back end as upsells, so they can increase the number of transactions. They can increase by helping their clients do marketing. We can help the value of their clients' businesses grow so that they can afford more services from the CPA. So we're trying to help them disconnect pricing from the hourly wages. Typically accountants charge by the hour. We want to put it on a valuation business so that they get paid monthly a value based on the value of all they're providing the clients instead of just an hourly thing.
Okay.
And so I tried, I created a funnel like Russ Ruffino where we had drove ads, Facebook ads to an evergreen webinar and stealth seminar, and it was an automated webinar, and didn't get much in the way of results there. I was like 0.74% click-through rate, and I think I got three people out of spending $6,000 or $7,000 out of doing that. So I didn't get much in the way of results there.
Did you get 3 customers?
Well, I got 3 strategy sessions, and 2 of them became customers. But
okay, wait a minute. That chunk is excellent.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 conversions is amazing. So do you mind if I just sort of dig around in that a little bit?
No, I don't mind.
Because you're murdering my conversion in terms of talking to people to convert as clients. I get like 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 3 or something. So, okay, you spent $6,000. Is that right?
So, yeah.
What is each client value?
Well, they could be worth $10,000 to $100,000. Depending on how you want to value it. So.
Well, let's say just between then and now, how much have they given you?
Oh, probably $4,000 or $5,000 at this point. It's only been a few months.
Okay, and this is per client or in total?
Per client.
Okay, so would you say it's safe to say like $8,000 total between the 2 so far?
Yeah, something like that. Sure.
Okay, we can definitely improve this, probably. But even with that said, you spent 6, you got 8 over time. And how long has the time frame been? You spent 6, and then how many months did it take to get the 8 back in total?
About 4 months.
All right, so if we were buying real estate or something together, we went out on a shopping center, and they said, well, you'll get all of your money back, plus whatever percentage that is, 33% on top of it, and what was it, 4 months or something?
Yeah.
We'd be jumping at the bit. So we can definitely improve it. I just want to point out that I like to celebrate victories more than find what's wrong. So this, in my opinion, is, as much as it doesn't seem to be exciting yet, and I'd rather you spend 6 this month and get 8 in the same month, or 10 in the same month, or whatever, you're headed in the right direction. would you tell me a little bit about the numbers behind the ad? Let's see where that sucker was broken. So 0.74% CTR is not the worst. Don't necessarily want to mess with that yet. Did it drive them straight to a... Go ahead.
Driving to, I don't know if you can see the screen.
I can, yes, awesome.
Okay, this is like a lead pages thing that Excel's webinar just put on their site. People are there will pretty much put everything. So this is what I was using. This is the most successful version of what I had tried. And like I said, I only got three people to really opt to attend the webinar and opt into, it went from this into an application and a calendar,
Oh yeah. I get the process, but let's look at every step. So the process is add to webinar registration. They have to attend, then they apply to talk, then you close them on the call. So there's 5 steps. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's look at each step because one of them is probably broken. We know that the getting traffic part doesn't sound like that's broken. We know that the convert them into customers on the call part is phenomenally good at this stage. So that's awesome. So now there's only 3 left, right? So do you recall how many registrants you got and how much you were spending per registrant?
Spending close to $80 of registrants.
Okay, and do you know how much you were paying per click?
I was paying about between $5 and $10 per click.
Okay, so there is an issue. I think you can get that click cost down a lot. All right, so.
I know my quality score was very low and always went around 2 or something. I had ads like this. I don't know if you can see this screen, but this is one of the ads I had. I tried
okay, now I want to take a look at this ad, and it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like anything that the right audience would dislike. So in looking at that thing, I'm probably inclined to just at first glance think it's a targeting issue that's causing your traffic to go way up, more than the ad copy, right? Because when we have an ad problem, it's either the ad copy or the audience. Just at first glance, your copy's not bad. Right, it's not amazing, but who cares? It's pretty good, right? I mean, if I was a CPA looking for new business clients, I'd go for it. So my guess is because your quality score was low, which means your audience was reacting negatively to the ad, they weren't CPAs, My guess.
Well,
okay, let's continue digging. Do you mind? So you had, do you recall about how many? Is that 600 registrants? No, that's not right. That's
no.
600 clicks or something.
Yeah.
Okay. How many registrants did you get?
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head because I stopped doing this in October because I just didn't seem to make sense to me, and I hadn't gotten any revenue yet at that point. So it was all expense. So like I said, I spend around $7,000 and. Was, like I said, getting about 0.74%.
I got you. So do you have a rough idea, like a random guess of how many registrants? I'm trying to see if the show up rate
around 50 to 60.
So I'll round up to 60. So 60 actual registrants out of $6,000. Okay. And then from those registrants, do you remember how many actually are on the webinars?
Very few. There's probably less than 10 actually went through the webinar.
But showed up or completed the webinar?
Saw the call to action in the webinar.
Okay, so you're looking at so if it's safe to say maybe 6 saw the CTA?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 6. Okay, that is actually not that bad. And then 50% of those registered. Guess what?
What?
I isolated the problem. So let me tell you what's good, okay? You're getting the actual offer in front of real people rate is pretty good. We don't know the show up rate, but we know that 6 people, which is 10%, maybe more because he said around 10, so I'm rounding down, actually attended and stayed long enough to see the CTA. See, someone attending and staying long enough to see the pitch is totally different people, right? So you could have a 500% or 500 people show up and then maybe only 100 of them make it to the pitch. That's not that great, so usually you'll lose some. But these numbers, the 60 register and 10% of those actually show up and stay long enough to see the pitch, that's not bad. 50% of those 6 actually registered for and made the appointment with you. And then 2 of those 3 bought something expensive and have paid you money, which means we can isolate this problem to 2 things. Number one, if you're paying $10 a click up to, that means you probably got around 600 clicks. So that's thing number one. The click cost is way too high here. It's probably targeting, right? Likely. And then you had 60 from likely 600. So that means there's a little tweaking that needs to be done on the registration page. But your process actually works. It just feels like it sucked because you spent so much to get the data, right? Could I do a little more digging?
Yeah,
Okay. Did you create all of these ads or did you have a firm run them?
I created them.
Okay. Well, you did pretty good, but do you feel like engaging anyone to handle it, or are you kind of burned out on it at this stage?
Well, if possibly engaging someone, I'm not against it.
I would test it if you feel like going through the hassle, especially because your client value was so high. So I'll tell you who I use. And I say I don't even know my numbers anymore except for my ROI because I don't care because they just handle it, which has been great. It's a company called Dominate Web Media. And we might even have some members who are good at that too. Guys, if you are, please feel free to speak up. But I have no financial ties to Keith and Ralph has done a very good job for us and it's worked. So you should be getting cheaper registrants than me. Okay, so I'm in a very cutthroat, competitive, jaded environment where everyone's seeing every webinar pitch in the world and they're sick of it. And I'm paying like $8 per registrant. And it's not because my copy is amazing. It's because it's getting stuck in front of the right people. So probably the issue is actually the targeting. My guess is you can get your cost per registrant. Let's just say on the worst scenario, you're paying $10 to get a lead, not a click, but someone to register. See, from there, your numbers work likely in month number 1. If everything else remains constant, you're probably turning a profit immediately. So the target isn't necessarily, hey, let's go and redo all manner of stuff and like rebuild the system. There's probably one point of failure, max 2, but probably 1. That's the targeting. The ad's not getting in front of the right people, right? So that's why you're not seeing the conversions. So we can like try to mess with it and stuff, but I wouldn't because I think we'd be doing unnecessary work. It's like, let's rebuild the house because there's a roof leak. It's like, no, let's just put some tar on that one hole in the roof. You know what I mean? That's where the problem is. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Sure. I thought this landing page was the problem myself, but
well, your landing page is converting at 10%. That's not amazing, but it's not horrible. And what leads me to believe is the conversion is affected by your audience is because your quality score on the ad was so low. So what that means is people are seeing that ad and they're reacting negatively to it. But there's nothing inflammatory about your ad, so that means they're probably not CPAs, right? You probably have all kinds of businesses that are seeing it, but the ads about CPA stuff, they're like, what the hell is this? And some people click anything. So it's at 10%. If you got it just in front of CPAs, you'd probably double that. So again, it's probably is a key word. It's probably not your landing page, but a real easy way to find out is just put that sucker in front of CPAs and then see what happens, right? Yeah. In fact, if you want to go into your ads manager, we can probably look at your audience selection and dig into it and be like, okay, here's the issue.
Let me see here.
Oh, and someone named Brian just had a very good point. Or I don't actually know if it was Brian, but some folks are saying, hey, man, you might want to advertise on LinkedIn. And that's probably a good idea because you can target CPAs directly on LinkedIn.
Right. I've been doing direct outreach on LinkedIn. Is what I've been doing.
Let's try a little PPC. Because man, I'm like everything's working okay. It's just that one issue, $10 a click. That's the breakdown, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if it was $2 a click and you were still at 10% opt-in, you'd have turned a net profit immediately.
I think my opt-in's only about 5%. Numbers are way a little off there. The opt-in on that landing page has been about 5%.
Okay.
Let me see here. Where would I be looking?
Okay, let's click on one of these things here. Let's go back to that screen you were just on. Yeah, just click, there you go. And let's click on one of the campaigns, which spent the most money. Oh, wait a minute, it didn't look like these were a big spend.
Well,
per conversion. Okay.
I have probably 24 different campaigns I've tested.
Let's look at the one where it says 6 conversions, growth focused desktop at the bottom. There you go. And ladies and gentlemen, so let's just see here. Okay, and click on speak Drucker. Oh, hang on, not yet. Let's see, add impressions, average cost. Okay, now look at this. You're getting average cost per click in here. See, something ain't right, man. Of $2, $2.27, $3.53. So these are not so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking we got to solve a $10 problem, but it's not $10 a click. You're paying per conversion $47, and I wonder what the conversion is. Are you setting a conversion as a registrant or an attendee?
I think this is an opt-in. This case.
Well, you had 21 clicks. That must be. So you had 21 clicks at 227. And you got 1 conversion. That makes sense, but I don't know if it's an opt-in.
Yeah, I think this one's just an opt-in. I don't think I get any strategy calls from this. But let me see. Where do I find the audiences here?
Let's go back to my dear man. Click the back button. There you go. Okay. And those of you at home, this is I know this is a lot of data, but hopefully this will help you because, man, when it comes to running ads, we come so close so many times, and I'm telling you, there's 4 metrics to look for, right? So I'm trying to help identify those 4 metrics. So going forward, there's never a need to spend $7,000. We can knock it right out. All right, so let's see. Oh, perfect. Okay. So let's now go to the amount. All right, so you spent 8,400 smackers in total. You had 9,000. Now look at this. You actually got $1.39 per click or per action. I'm thinking that's a click. You see where it says I up there by CPC? And your, yeah, okay, now what does that say? Overview, the average cost per link click. Okay, that's okay. Just making sure we're reading the right metric there. So now let's look at results. So one funnel here is an ebook funnel. What's that? Is that even?
That was something else I tested. Wasn't related to this.
Okay, and video campaign?
That's another thing I tested. There were several of these that were targeted at law firms, so like this one. So it's not all accountants.
Good. Okay, so what we need to figure out, if possible,
the
see, there's gold in this
webinars
data.
are the ones that were the ones through the Stealth webinar system.
Wait a minute. Okay.
That one here.
Okay. Let's find the other ones.
Another one here. Another one here. Ones that say JIT, and if I can.
Are the JIT webinars the places where the clients came from?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Guess what, buddy? I got good news for you, my man.
What's that?
If you go and add up all the total amount spent lifetime for just-in-time webinars, it's nowhere near 6 Gs.
Right.
So the just-in-time webinars have produced $8,000 in revenue over 4 months. And let's look, I think I'm just kind of eyeballing this. I think you might have spent like a total of $1,500 on just-in-time webinars.
Here, here, and here. This is another one here, but I didn't call that here.
Okay.
Here. Yeah, it might not be that total, but.
Well, so what this is telling us is you spend a lot of money finding out what didn't work, and then you spend a little bit on something that did work, but understandably, you were so burned out on all the stuff that didn't work, you were like, to hell with it. But what I think you've uncovered, if this data is accurate, which it sounds like, you really spent like $1,500, $2,000 on these just-in-time webinars, and the damn things worked. They actually produced a positive return on the money. So I would turn all that other stuff off and just run the just-in-time webinars again. Start with like a $100 to $200 a day budget and really isolate. Now, are they clicking? Are they opting in? Are they showing up? And just run that for a bit and know the numbers, because you got $8,000 from them. You didn't spend $8,000 on them. It looks like you spend a lot more. It looks like your return is closer to like 200% or something, which is great.
Okay.
So thing one, we can change all kind of stuff. Thing two is, might not be necessary. Let's turn these guys back on and see what happens. Because, if you do the math there and you add those guys up, it's, whatever, maximum, $2,500, $3,000. Brought in 8, real good.
Okay. I'm pretty sure though I got less than 5% conversion on this, and that was what was really bugging me more than anything. So because everybody says, oh, you ought to get 20% conversion on your landing page. Is what I hear from
Webinar registrations are hard.
Yeah.
They're tough, for sure. But now check this out. Okay, so let's go back to your reports, and yeah, maybe you can change the webinar thing, like this picture of Peter with the weird book thingy here. It could be better or whatever. But if we go into, let's find one of these just-in-time webinar campaigns where you spent the most. Like any one of them is fine. Actually, let's just find one with conversions. Okay, so let's see. I'm just like getting close to the thing here. So there's one conversion. Hang on. Let's look at the JIT webinar right over there where your conversion is 0.61%. This looks like it might be the most expensive one, right? So click on there. Now this is lifetime, and this is going to show us potentially, okay. Now look, you got 2 things in here. Look at this one. The JIT owner, CEO. You got 45 clicks. And then where'd it go? You had 6 opt-ins.
Right.
That's not bad. Right? The other one, you had 73 clicks, you had 4 opt-ins. That one's no bueno, but look at what it is. It's business owner. See, so the targeting, the business owner is not accountant people.
Right. That one might not have been.
So you see it looks like there's all this stuff, but if you cut out the waste that didn't work and just turn back on the ones that did, I'm not saying like, hey, everything's going to be amazing, but you'll probably see that it's, first of all, even the experiment itself wasn't too bad because he's put, whatever, let's just round it up to $3,000 in, got $8,000 out. That's great. We'll do that forever. Expansion of money is good. But there's also all this stuff that should just be chopped off there. So I'm trying to save you from having to reinvent the wheel right now because it's a lot harder. You have a process that's actually functional. So let's just cut out all the bad stuff. You're a Richard Koch guy. I'm a Richard Koch guy. It's 80-20, right? Of all of this, all of this stuff in here, there's like 5% of these little sets that actually worked. Let's kill everything else, turn those guys back on, and run it one more time.
Okay. All right.
And then if you still want to mess with that opt-in page, we will, but I don't think it's the issue. I mean, there's little tweaks, but that's not it. You know, it's kind of like saying these headache pills aren't strong enough. It's like, well, dude, it's not the pills. It's the fact that you've got this nail in your head. You know what I mean? Let's take the nail out. That's the problem. It's not messing with the pills. So let's revisit the opt-in page if necessary, but put the right people in front of it so we can really know if it's working.
Okay, well, at the end, targeting accounting types pretty closely, I thought. But
yeah. Well, the data tells us, you know what I mean? So when you look at all of those campaigns and just turn on the little ones that worked. That's all you got to do. Because there was one that was great, you know, your conversion rate was fine. There's another one that wasn't. It was general business owners. So judging by the title of it, we know that probably wasn't the ones. So just do me a favor this week. Just go through, chop off everything that wasn't, you know, 10% or better of opt-ins, right? And then just turn it back on. It's almost physically impossible to spend a whole lot of money on that because there's just not that much targeting, it sounds like. And let's see what happens. Let's measure the opt-in rate from there. You know what I mean? Because, dude, you got 60 opt-ins or so and got $8,000 from them. That's awesome. All we got to do is just get cheaper opt-ins.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right. You know what I just did there, Aurora? Is I really did not give a paying member what they wanted, which was for me to review that opt-in page. But guys, it would be a terrible disservice if I did that. Because all we do is spend a lot of money sending unqualified people to a better version of an opt-in page. So there's gold. I'm telling you, it is the numbers, guys. The numbers will set you free. We had data. That is the answer. It is. Okay. So there you go. All righty, homies. Who next? Who next? The row.
Next, we are going to have Joe Clark on. So, Joe, if you can.
Who muted? Aurora's muted. Why are you muting?
I don't know.
Why are you muted, man?
I'm just trying to be quiet over here,
Gosh.
you know? Just such a soft petal,
Such
flower.
a delicate little daisy. That's what it is. There it is. Look at me.
So we've got just a little daisy.
That was it. Yeah.
So we've got Joe Clark on next. And so, Joe, if you can hear me, go ahead and unmute yourself and also put your camera on so we can see you.
Where'd Joe at?
She should be on in just 1 second.
Now, see, this is going to bother me if Paul doesn't just chop off all that dead weight and turn those ads back on.
Well, I think we can do a checkup with him in a
We've
couple
got
days
to.
and
Let's-
see where he's
let's
at.
hassle Paul.
And then maybe we can get him back on in a couple weeks so he
Let's
can show
harass
us.
Paul.
Let's just really use Paul.
That's what we're, let us, I can hear someone else, by the way. I can hear. Oh, now they're muted. Uh-oh. Oh, my gosh.
Hey guys,
There we
did
go.
I
I
do
think our
something
new
wrong?
guy's coming up. No, I don't think. Uh-oh. I don't think so.
Hey guys.
Hey, wait, that's not a dude. I like you better. This is great. Okay, yeah. Hello.
Sorry about the screen share. Hey, nice to meet you.
That's okay. Nice to see you. No, we need to solve a little bit of audio problems. I think my voice is coming through your speaker and then feeding back into your microphone.
Okay, so
Do you have any headphones?
I do.
Let's
You
put the
know
headphones
what,
in there.
though?
That'll solve it.
The only problem is the new iPhone doesn't plug into my computer. I have
Damn you,
the.
Steve Jobs.
I know, right? Dang it! Is it still doing
Maybe just
it?
turn it down. Like turn my the output down
How's that?
on your computer. Like
Is
your
that
volume
better?
down. Just turn your.
I
Let's
did.
see. Testing 1, 2.
Is that better?
Not really. But I think we'll make it. I wonder if anyone else can hear it. I've got the speakers in my ear, so maybe the other guys can't hear it. So that's okay. Let's get cracking, man.
Okay.
Let's do it. How may I be of service?
Issue. Pardon me? Sorry.
How can I help you, man?
I talked over you. So my issue is not dissimilar to Paul's, where I am doing webinars and my ads were doing extremely well. And so I doubled down. I listened to like the Jason Hornung thing that told you have to scale your ads at a certain level to get Facebook to cooperate with you. Otherwise, they'll crush everything. So I did exactly what he said, and I started out, I got 150 registrants for my webinar. And actually, the funnel that we're using, I think, Kayla and Cameron.
Yeah, let's see. I lost you for just a sec, but now you're back. I said the funnel you're using,
Okay.
and then bing, and then so right after that.
Okay, so the funnel we're using is highly converting, but and I think you were a consultant on it. It was Kayla and Cameron.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
It can't be
You
me. If
remember
it was
those
working,
guys?
it had to have been someone else.
So, so anyway, it was working amazingly. So the big issue for me is just getting the traffic in there and converting them. So I've been doing this webinar about 6 weeks, and my first ever Webby, I had about 150 registrations. So my ad campaign was working. But ever since then, the registrations have fallen off to about half that. My last one, which was last night, was about 67 registrations. I'm not spending that much, but I did do another, my best converting ad, just like you were telling Paul. I paused the ones that were crap, and I doubled down on the best converting ad. Okay? So I was getting about 41 leads a day, opt-ins a day on that. And so still on the show up rate, it was about 15%. I can show you the analytics. So I got about 10 people. So I had 67 registrations, about 10 people showed up. 7 stayed to the end, which was pretty remarkable. But nobody bought. So, but I've had buyers doing the same webinar and same format. So my question is there some other, I know if I could get more of a critical mass of traffic into these webinars, A, and B, if I could get more people to show up. So I did add a lead magnet to get more people to show up.
So you put a lead
the
magnet
lead
in front
magnet-
of the registration?
Yeah. Yeah, so I did it, I kind of bookended it. I did one at the front of the registration, and then one, if they stayed to the end, they got the remarkable financial analysis, so they had to stay at the end to get that PDF. And then in Infusionsoft, I had it track if they stayed 15 minutes or more, they got that second email with the second PDF.
Okay.
Okay.
And all right,
So-
I got it.
I mean, so that's basically it. Is that I don't know if the numbers are just too small to get 10 people to show up and then 7 stayed to the end and no buyers, or if it's just that I got 2 people contacted me right away and said, "Wow, that was an amazing webinar." So I don't know if that means why didn't you buy or whatever. I don't know what that means.
I want to make sure I got the lay of the land properly. So thing number 1, this webinar has been working, and then you recently tried to expand it to maybe new audiences or something, and it stopped. Is that right?
Well, I didn't even, I still had it was ultra targeted. The ad campaign was ultra targeted. And so I didn't even change any of the targeting. I just doubled down on the best converting ad.
Okay, but it has worked in the past, and it just sort of seems to have abruptly stopped. Is that right?
Yeah, so the last 2 webinars I did, I had low attendance, but I also didn't get any buyers on the last 2.
And okay, but prior to these last 2, it was working out okay?
Yes, I was getting at least, I got 4 buyers on one, which was the most. And then I got, maybe like 1 to 2, and then I would get like 1 the next day. And on the last 2, I've gotten no buyers on the Webby, none the next day. So far today, none.
Are you optimizing, like in the Facebook pixel thing, is it optimized for conversions, for registrants? You know how you tell like the ad, I want to optimize this ad for registrants or whatever? Is that the thing it optimizes for?
You know, I don't know. I can show you my Ads Manager. I have it already pulled up, but I'm not. Can you show me? Can you? Do you need me to share screen?
Yeah, I think you just like press the share screen button on your end. It's at the top of the screen. Here's my theory, by the way. First of all, it's not quite enough data to know. Like, if the time between webinars have changed or anything like that, if everything has remained constant, and you've had this low show up rate on the last two, and there's only like 67 registrants, it doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem. It just could have been weird, you know. Like this week, I had a webinar with 500 people on there. I got 3 buyers. I was like, this is weird, but sometimes it just happens. So it didn't really freak me out, you know. So I think your data is a little bit, not enough data to really draw any empirical conclusions. The other thing that in the event it's not performing anymore, it's probably because you've expanded rapidly. Expanded the market rapidly, and Facebook's just getting a lot of clicks and stuff, and it doesn't quite know who the right clicks are yet. So that's normal. So anytime you start to scale ads, it goes like this. Like this is a graph. It's like, I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to scale up. Conversions and stuff are bad, but then it gets a little better. Now I'm going to scale up. Conversions and stuff dip, and then it gets a little bit better. During that dip process, what's going on is Facebook is typically optimizing your ad, meaning who you're showing the ad to, for conversions. And you do this when you set up the ad. There's a little box or something that says optimize for conversions, and it's either a registrant or a show up or whatever. And so right now, it's getting people, but it probably isn't getting the right people yet because it's new. So you were like, originally you're like, hey, show it to this little tiny group of people, and Facebook's like, cool, and those tiny little group of people are perfect. And you're like, let's expand the reach and maybe show it to people who are similar to this tiny group or whatever. And Facebook's like, okay, but in doing that right at first, it usually gets a poorer performance because the algorithm that Facebook is based upon doesn't actually have enough data to optimize who it is showing the ads to exactly yet, because there's so many people it can show the ads to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I could tell because in my first set, you know how like on the organic reach on the ad, people say more info? So under the actual ad, I didn't do a page post engagement ad. I did just a regular website conversion ad, and I do have a pixel on there. And the pixel is seasoned enough where Facebook was sending me the right kind of registrants. And then I noticed all of a sudden on this last webinar, there was a lot of guys, whereas it was mostly like 40-year-old women for some reason, All of a sudden I got a bunch of guys on this set. And so maybe they were trying to recalibrate and it was not the right, and my offer, the offer is only $99. It's super cheap. And they were saying, I don't have the $99. I really want to do this, but I don't have the $99.
Yeah.
So
do you sell them something after the $99, by the way?
Yes.
Is there a back end to that business?
Yeah, there's a huge back end offer. So that's like the micro commitment.
Perfect. I don't think it's broken yet. And the reason I say this is because historically it's worked and no variables have changed other than an expansion of targeting. And it's been a tiny expansion of targeting. And whenever we expand targeting, even if it looks like we're expanding to the perfect people, the Facebook's algorithm is just so weird. You got to get like some stuff in before it sort of dials in that new expansion. So I believe, based on that data, that it just hasn't been enough yet, and you're probably okay.
Okay. I guess the only other question I have for you today is if you're like, I know for a fact that I could drive a certain amount of revenue into this whole system if I had more traffic. But I also have been doing a lot of the spending because I'm driving this effort for other reps. So I put in place like this whole Infusionsoft, sophisticated system. So every time I added a rep who would represent this product. So it's not like an MLM, but it's more like a direct sale type thing. So you do have reps that you can profit share on. And I wanted them to just not spend time on tech and just, boom, start driving traffic. And so I put the whole system in place. I spent into the abyss to do it. And so now I'm in a position where I just need to drive revenue. And if I could drive a bunch of traffic, I could get a lot more conversions. And right now I'm playing with small numbers because I can't really scale, So is there any thoughts you have on, I've been using all Facebook ads and it's driving me batshit crazy.
You're probably, I used to try to do my own, and I did the same thing. I was like, I got it working pretty good. And then I got Jason to do mine, Jason Hornung. And then I was like, hey, I want to kind of learn how to be really good at this too. So I'm going to do it with you. And everything just, and he's like, dude, you're messing with it too much. He actually had to call me. He's like, would you stop screwing with the ads? Because every time you make these little changes, it resets their algorithm thingy and it just gets super weird. And I'm like, okay, dude, sorry. And as soon as I quit messing with it, it started working better. So if you're in there every day changing budgets and doing all kinds of stuff, it probably never gives it a chance to get in its groove, for lack of a better word. So the first thing I would do is I'd be like, okay, what would the business be like if someone else who was actually an expert at this, because you've proved out this system, right? So let me just back up a minute. You've proved out the model, you've run cold media, and it has worked, and the challenge isn't getting cold media to convert, the challenge is scaling that cold media now. So there's really two choices. You can spend an inordinate amount of time figuring out how to do all of that techie Facebook addy stuff, which might be a good use of your time, or you can get someone else to do it and focus your time on getting those reps to convert better and doing stuff that is really in your wheelhouse. So the question I have is there any reason under the sun not to get someone else to do this?
Well, I actually contacted those guys, and they said, well, when you're ready to spend $10,000 a day or something to start, they were like, otherwise just get our class, get our info product. So they tried to sell me on their info product and didn't really have any interest in the smaller, because right now I'm spending like $150 a day. And so I think they're looking at, if you're not spending 10 grand a month, we don't want to talk to you,
Well, 150 a day is 4,500 a month. So the minute you double that, you're perfect. So what I would recommend is start looking at the numbers. So at 150 a day, well, let me reverse engineer. How much is the average $99 buyer with all the back-end stuff worth to the business?
That's a great question. There's a funnel on the back end that takes them through a process. And we have probably about there's about 60% of people, 60 to 70% of people that come through that process actually want to proceed. And there's an $8,000 offer at the end of that. And it's kind of like, it's not really like a franchise, but it's kind of like a franchise without the franchise. And with the systems already built for people. So they want in, and then it really just becomes a matter of, can they qualify for financing? So where it drops off a little bit is maybe 50% of those people don't qualify for financing, so they don't get in. But still, if you get one, our take on that is about 40. Well, it's right now it scales up, but it's about getting close to $4,000 per sale. So if you can spend $4 grand a month and get just one sale, you're good, right?
Well, so let's reverse engineer, right? So how many $99 buyers does it take after bad financing and all that kind of stuff to equal one $4,000 payday for you?
I would say it probably takes about 10 to 12.
So the question now becomes, can you spend less than $5,200? Oh, one more question, sorry. How long does it typically take for those 12 people at $99 to have one of them converted to a 4,000 for you? Is it 2 months, or is the funnel a week, or what's the deal?
I would say it's about 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks. So now the question becomes, I forgot what the question was. Oh, yes. Can you get 12 $99 buyers for less than $5,200? Because 12 $99 buyers are worth $5,200 in aggregate to you. So if we do the math there, let's now divide. Hang on, and I'll use my calculator here. 52, actually, let's do it exactly. 99 times 12 equals 1188 plus 4,000 equals 5188 divided by 12. What this really means is if you spend less than $432 to get a $99 sale, you're making money. So if you spend $200 to get a $99 sale, statistically speaking, 2 weeks from now, you're going to net profit $232. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So now knowing that, it might give you the confidence to say, okay, if these numbers remain true, and I'm just kind of basing on what you're telling me, let's go forward and get someone to handle this traffic, because I don't see why you couldn't get $12.99 buyers a day. It's just not that hard. Like,
I know.
typically, historically, what is your webinar converted at, percentage-wise?
It's been about, I would say, anywhere from, I had I guess the first one was probably about 20% because of the, that was my first webinar. It was horrible. It was god awful. So I've gotten a lot better now. I've postured more, and I've got.
I'm gonna do some math. I'm not texting. I've got some math. Okay.
You better not be. I'm kidding. But no. So I think I know that there should be no reason I'm not getting 12 to 20 buyers a day if I could scale. But I'm chicken because my husband's about to divorce me because I'm spending so much and I'm not running a profitable business basically. So I've got myself where I'm just about ready to break out, but I can't break out. I'm almost like my feet are tied at the very moment I need to,
So you have to endure one of two things. Thing number one is you have to sit there and drive yourself crazy and figure these ads out personally, which probably means letting them run a little bit longer, because if you keep tweaking them every day, the algorithm's never going to get right.
Yeah.
Thing number two is to figure out how to get, I'll tell you how I came up with this first. If you said the best was 20, I'll figure like an average is a 5% conversion on your webinar, which means if you have 300 people attend the webinar, then you will get 15 sales. So now it is a question of, okay, well, if you get, let's say, it's like a 40% show-up rate, 300 divided by 40%, that means you need to get 750 registrants. So, actually, let's have a look at this. Times 3, okay, 750 times 4, 3,000. Okay, so that means if those numbers hold, to get 300 on and you get a 40% attendance rate, and you got to get 750 people to register, that means you can pay $4 per registrant and still make a huge return on your money every day. Like be in the black after 2 weeks every single day. So to get to that point, you're either going to have to go through the horror of figuring it out yourself, or go through the horror of enduring what I call the fish hook. Either way is going to have a fish hook, by the way, which is the results are going to diminish while you're figuring it out, and then they'll break out. But to expect it to go from here to here without a little dip in it is kind of unrealistic. You're experiencing it right now, right? It's a pain in the ass, it's not converting. That's normal. My suggestion is, if you can stomach it, get someone you trust to actually figure that out for you instead of you figuring it out yourself. Like leverage, because your expertise is clearly building these systems. I mean, you've engineered this whole thing for all these reps and stuff. It's amazing, right? It ain't running Facebook ads, so I would find someone to do that for you if you can stomach the expense, which I know is not what you want to hear, but it's either you figure it out yourself or get someone else, because your numbers are solid, right? Assuming everything's compliant, etc. 1 in 12 $99 buyers yields $4,000 to you. That means your $99 buyers are worth $400. Which means you can spend $200, $250 or whatever to make a solid net profit. You're gold.
Yeah.
It's just making that investment and having the ability to get punched in the face a few times, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
and then keep fighting that.
Well, also too, like the numbers, like my colleague did one the other day, and he's got like 200 people running traffic to his. I've just got me. I broke out on my own because I felt like I could drive more volume if I became the person, and they got 200 people on and 28 bought, and then another 10 bought within a day. So great. Yeah, so this thing, it converts, it totally converts. So the big thing for me is just getting the traffic. So I guess the last question I have is, can you refer someone that would be like a mini Jason Hornung who would be open to a smaller business, but it would scale like crazy. Like if I get this dialed in, all my reps can run the same exact ads, and so then they can all glom on there, and they'll have a lot more.
There's two things. Thing number one is we probably have agency people as members, and maybe there's folks in chat that'll be like, yeah, dude, I can help you or whatever. So if you are a member and you do this kind of work, please raise your hand, post it in the Facebook group or whatever. And who I use personally is Dominate Web Media, and they are not. I don't even know how much Hornan costs, but it costs me about $5,000 a month, and they do all my stuff. And that $5,000 covers me at like 50. Actually, if I go over 60 grand a month in ad spend, it's like 5,500 or something. I don't know. It's negligible, right? Yeah. So that covers a outload of stuff. I do nothing. They just handle. I literally do nothing other than look at the numbers and complain if the numbers are off, which they rarely are. So coming into the family within one of the members, and I can't necessarily speak for any of them, but hey, you're in the same community, or Dominate Web Media is awesome.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
So that's Keith.
Yeah, Ralph Burns, Keith Krantz, DominateWebMedia.com.
All right, got it.
And watch your compliance now, and make sure whatever you're selling, you got all your disclaimers and stuff. I don't know what it is, but I just give you that blanket advice to give it to you.
Yeah, in the webinar, I disclaim I don't make any claims, and the only results I post are actual results. And so, yeah, for sure. But that's a great suggestion. I think that it would make my life so much more pleasurable if I didn't have to fight with Facebook. And I've even become super laissez-faire on the ads. I'll go a long time without touching them, and it's still like, I just know it has potential if I was out of the picture.
Yeah, you've got a lot going for you. You have a system that converts, and you have a very seasoned pixel.
Yeah.
So get on with them, and you'll do good. I think the echo's driving folks crazy.
Okay,
and
I'm
Dave
so
here,
sorry.
there's already someone. Dave is saying he's got a great Facebook ads guy, Eric Louvier in Austin, Texas. I know Eric Louvier, and he's a solid dude. So there you go. There's a lot of folks that can help you, man. It's probably going to be someone else.
Cool. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Okay, hey, Ro. You too. Who we got? Who Nick? My man.
Massimo is calling in from Italy.
He's calling in. He's one of them Italians.
He is. And Massimo has been, I think, super patient with us because he's wanted to get on the last couple times and not been able to.
Well, man, now the
take
pressure's on.
Real good care of Massimo.
Now the pressure is on.
Massimo, if you can hear us, please unmute yourself. Hopefully you've got some earplugs we can use.
All righty. Look at all these folks. This is cool. I'm just checking out what everyone's saying. This is cool. Sorry about that echo on the last one. Bob Regenerous. I know that dude too. Solid guy. Look at all these great Facebook ads. So you guys, that's why it's cool to be part of a community. People have all these references and resources they share. Okay, I'm just yapping, waiting on my main man, Massimo.
We're trying to get him on right now.
Y'all want to see something cool? I prepared an actual little mini presentation for you to review some cool stuff in the event. I just wanted to start with Q&A this time. The normal call schedule is I'll just yap at you and teach you some cool stuff and then do Q&A. And I figured there would be a buildup of Q&A, so I didn't want to leave people hanging. Okay. Oh, Joey's a late attendee. That's the guy we've been talking about this whole time. It's Joey. He just got here. Dude, we totally were not talking about you. So it was another Joey. One day someone's going to believe that. I'm messing with you, dude. Glad to have you. We're still going. We're still crushing it. Are we waiting on my man Massimo?
Yep, I'm going to also invite Lisa.
Joey said he totally felt that. Okay, let's
just so we can whoever gets on first, Lisa Turner or Massimo, they've both been invited. So.
All righty. Let's see. You want me to show y'all some cool stuff real quick while we're hanging? Do you think we have time? I don't want to this is maybe 10 minutes of coolness. All right, a buddy of mine who I have never met personally. Let's see here, guys. Sass, we can actually, let me get all manner of stuff ready. I got things to share with y'all. Okay, let's see. So are we sharing? Yeah, we're sharing my screen. Look, that's amazing. All right, so this thing, I bought this thing. This is called the $1 Million Hard Drive. I went ahead, I pulled the trigger on this thing, and I bought it for $7,500. It's an Aurora's car. I'm going to get it, and I can't wait to go through it. It is a hard drive for $7,500 now. This is a hard drive and about 15 pounds of swipe files, direct response swipe files. So the first thing I want to share with you is this letter that got me to buy, right? And I didn't read any of this stuff. This got my attention. It's $100,000 to buy this. Now notice that he has got the justification, which is it's precisely the same as any print ad insertion, direct TV spot, or direct mail drop. So, first I tell you who this is for. This is for hardcore copywriters. It is a hard drive with swipe files and stuff on. So this language here makes sense to them. I get this, like, oh, okay, yeah, it would cost like $100,000 to run in USA Today or whatever. So then he's like, blah, 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 this is really good, and it's got all this kind of stuff. But here's what got me. Okay, as he started, he's got all these little chunks. I'm going to go through the actual copy. You can check it out yourself if you want to, milliondollarharddrive.com. But he's got all these other chunks where he's showing ads, and he's got these bullet points that will just drive you nuts, especially if you look at things like this. 4'11" marketing giants, foolproof knockoff insurance, and $200 million payday, 52 ads on the $1 Million Hard Drive just for that one thing. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Self-help secrets, 209 direct mail packages and print ads for the self-help industry. Nuts, right? So being a direct response junkie, I've got to see what it all is. But here's where he really started to mess with my head, all right? Let me find them. Here we go, the profile of players in print. So not only did I buy a bunch of swipe files, but I bought all of this stuff. And here's where Lawrence Bernstein's, he's who put together this product. He's like talking about Lansdale and Carr, right? So these two dudes I've never heard of. They had 4-day tire stores. Value of sales, $80 million a year. This is in like the 70s or whatever. 4-day golf clinics, biggest chain of retail golf shops. And then they bought out their former clients, right? And then he's telling the stories of these guys. So these stories hooked me, okay? When he's kind of building the value of everything. I'm like, oh my gosh. And that was just one of the players in print, by the way. So here's another one, Dentist to the Stars, right? And he talks about this guy who stopped advertising 25 years ago because he had one ad that worked so well. And he talks about how does it work? And then he talks about, how people sold 328,000, they had 328 ad insertions. That means they ran an ad 328,000 times to sell books that are in the public domain. Translation, old, boring books that anyone could sell with really zero publishing or licensing fees. So I'm like getting all hooked on this. And I see the thing, and everything I'm showing you here, these are stories, and I see the ad for it, and I get fascinated with it. But I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool to have that. I kind of want it. But I didn't buy it. Now, look at this. Lawrence Bernstein, the guy who did this, who's, again, a solid dude. He runs Info Marketing Blog. He starts this promotion on, let me show this to you. He starts this damn promotion for this thing on November 28th, right? And I read it. You can see the ones that I've read are over here, and they're, no longer dark black. So he starts it with the world's greatest testimonial. So I read the email. I'm like, oh, what's this? And I go to $1 Million Hard Drive, and I don't buy. Over the course of however many days this is, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 emails about the same product. Guess how annoyed I am by this? Not even remotely, and here's why, okay? So what Lawrence did is kind of a variation of something that I show you in the Reframe training, which comes with my consulting book. If you don't have Reframe, just write to us and we'll make sure you get it. It's about how to make the same offer from a different angle. And Lawrence did this perfectly like 20-something times, right? And every time of all the ones I read was interesting. Here's an example, okay? The subject line was something like, show me the sales or something like that. And the copy is, if it doesn't sell, it isn't creative. David Ogilvy said that, hey, Frank, lots of marketers talk up story selling. Most of the time, though, the emphasis seems to be on the stories, but akin to Rod Tidwell's immortal line, shouted in Jerry Maguire, show me the sales. Here's a marketer who knew his story selling. You're sure to learn a few things from him. And then there's a link. Now check it out. I'm going to go to this link here. I'll pull up my screen. And so here's where the link sends me, right? Now, the goal of this mission is to get the reader to buy the $1 million hard drive, which at the time was $7,500. I hope Lawrence made a fortune with this, by the way. This is now like the 13,000th dollar I've spent with this dude. He sells old school copywriting stuff. So here's the page. Now, this isn't a sales page for $1 million hard drive. Instead, what he has done is he has taken a chunk of the original sales letter, which is about some of these players in print. So this around in here somewhere where he's talking about this dude. So he's taken a chunk of this copy and he's put it here and made it educational. So I can get curious by the email. I click here and he talks about Bud Wekesser was easily one of the most versatile direct response copywriters ever. He sold 1.5 million copies of a $12.95 book called the Green Tree Computer Course. A colleague once shared with me how he boasted about his new magic product. While he was midway through listening, Westwood cut him off, said, "That's wonderful, how are you going to sell it?" He knew how to sell. He's telling me the story of this guy, not even remotely trying to sell me anything, and then gives me a version of one of his ads to look at, right? This isn't just for me. This is for everybody that's into direct response. And so I'm like, some bitch, let's do it, you know? So I read more about it, and he talks about how good this guy was, and he talks about the revenge motif and about the ad that he has a screenshot of here, all right? So now I'm like, man, this is really fascinating. I like storytelling and ads and stuff, and I click on the ad. And here is the ad. And you know what? Let me do something for y'all. I'm going to send you a link to this ad real quick. So if you're sharing my screen, you might hear, just bring it to me for a minute, Sassy, so they don't see that weird, never-ending reflection. Okay, let's see here. I just want to send this to you in chat. So I'll send you a link to this PDF in chat so you can see, oh, I see our caller, and now you're patiently waiting for me to shut up. I just didn't want everyone to get bored watching me wait here. So I'll be done yapping here in a minute. But here's the ad, right? So this is like one of the 9 million ads that are in this $1 million hard drive. And this thing sold a gazillion copies of the book. And it's brilliant. And I'm like, this is freaking amazing. So I look at this. This is selling a weight loss product. This was an insertion, is what this is called. It is an insertion into print media, meaning it was run in newspapers and stuff. And it says, when I see my ex-husband, I have this secret trick. I play on him. All right, let's see if I can get this to be a little bit larger. There we go. And let's just take kind of a look at this framework here. And let me refer to my notes because I've actually written some stuff down for you to discuss this. All right, so first I'll just sort of go over what this ad is all about. It says, when I see my ex-husband, I have the secret trick, I play on him. First of all, hard to resist that, especially if you're a bitter female with an ex-husband you don't care for. Right, which is who this ad is targeted for, women who have been, in their minds, rejected, at least. And it begins, did you ever notice that when you're fat, men don't look you in the eye? Yes, sir, I have noticed that. They look across your shoulder. There's no eye contact. My name is Leslie McLennan. I'm a real person. I live near Goose Creek, South Carolina. Up until 2 years ago, I was never looked in the eye by anyone. I was too tired to be a lover to my husband. I was falling asleep by 8 o'clock most evenings. When I did go out for an evening, my husband was ashamed of me and said so to my face. When I walked, my thighs brushed together. I couldn't even cross my legs. I was fat, not just overweight, fat. I was 5'5" tall, and I weighed 255 pounds. Well, man, that's nothing. I weigh way more than that. I am a little taller. About 18 months ago, here we go. About 18 months ago, my husband, Daryl, left a Dear Leslie letter on my dresser and filed for divorce. I went for counseling. Now, man, imagine this, okay? If you are someone who is feeling frustrated with weight, especially if you're a female who this ad is clearly targeted to, especially if you feel like you've been rejected as a result of weight, this story is just like laser beam right into the brain, okay? And I'm giving you the ad now, and I'll do this really briefly, just so we can continue on with helping the members here. So you've got the ad, but I want to kind of give you the framework of this ad here. And this is a classic journey story. So you just might want to write this down. You know, I'll write about this for you in the newsletter, and I'll send it to you. So I'll give you kind of a full breakdown of it. But I just want to share it with you. So the first thing is description of problem/agitate. Right? And so the beginning of this is beautiful. They do this just impeccably. Did you ever notice that when you're fat, men don't look you in the eye? That's boom. It addresses fat rejection, right? And then so there's now a story about the level of rejection. The next step now is the decision and desire. So I have desire and then decision. Let's see if they follow it exactly, right? So now we get to the story, which is about 18 months ago. My husband left a Dear Leslie letter on my dresser and filed for divorce. I went for counseling. That's the decision or the desire to change. So she now has the desire to change. I went for counseling, and I knew that weight was the source of my troubles, but I'd tried 14 different diets. One by one, I failed at all of them. Okay, so she's got the desire to change, which is to lose this weight. This is our second step. My counselor listened carefully and recommended an entirely different program. This wasn't a diet, it was a unique weight loss program researched by blah, blah, blah. I entered the program on October 2nd. That is now decision. Okay, so this is our third step, decision. She's got the problem. She has the desire to solve the problem. She makes the decision to solve the problem specifically on October 2nd, right? And the next part here is all about the journey, okay, which is, and this is very, very brief, but notice the framework. So now I entered the program. Within the first 4 days, she's now on this journey. I lost only 3 pounds, so I was disappointed. But during the 3 weeks that followed, my weight began to drop rapidly. We're now on this journey. Now we're fast forwarding. Within the next 193 days, I went from 205 pounds to 124 pounds. To me, it was a miracle. This was the first time in my life I'd ever lost weight and kept it off. Now we're getting to the results. We're still in the journey thing. The reason the program worked was simple. I was always eating. She's on this journey. She's always eating, but now she could eat 6 times a day. She never felt deprived. How can you eat so much and still lose weight? The secret is not in the amount of food. So now we get finally to the results. So I'll do this to be quickly, but now she's now talking about her results. So now she goes on to say, this program must be the best kept secret in America. And now she's finally, at this stage, building desire for the thing, right? So the results are she lost a lot of weight. As a matter of fact, here we go. If you get it right here, it is 193 days later. She went from 205 to 124 pounds. That's the result. And our final phase is now building the value and validity of the result. And the next is call to action. So I will give you a greater overview of this framework in your newsletter. But man, stories work. They've always worked. And never underestimate the power of simple human emotion. So this ad is one for the ages in terms of your swipe file. It is so emotionally charged. And it worked pretty good. They made a lot of money, and hopefully they helped a lot of people. I would assume they did, which is fantastic. All right, I breezed through that one. I just wanted to share it with you because I like to show you cool stuff. I will give you a full framework of this in your newsletter because it's awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about helping someone. Who do we have here on the line? Yeah, I don't think you're Massimo at all, ma'am. Have we once again led Massimo down a path of intense frustration?
To get on today.
He's ready to kill us at this stage. But you know, Italians are never like emotional about anything. They're very even keel people.
Oh, they're no.
So he's
yeah,
like, hey man, it's cool, bro. You know he's doing this a lot. No rompere mi cogliones. Cazzo, is what he's saying right now.
Yeah. Well, he's, he's still getting a ton of value. We'll try and get him on as soon as we can. But
let's just see if we can really drive him nuts with this whole thing. Yeah. Okay. Who this is on our
Lisa
thing?
Turner.
Hey, Lisa. I thought I already talked to Lisa Turner. I didn't. Am I? It's me.
Lisa Jackson.
Jackson Turner. Lisa Jackson Turner. That's who this is. Hello. Oh no, did we lose Lisa Jackson Turner?
I'm the fat Lisa.
There we go.
There she is.
I was like.
All right. How can I
you.
help you, ma'am? I can, clearly. Yeah.
Hi, can you hear
It's
me?
working.
Awesome. Hi.
Mhm,
Thank
totally.
you for
Hey.
being you. You're awesome. I just joined this.
Thank
in
you
the
so
summer,
much.
And I've been studying your materials and yeah, and you know, I wanted to just before we start, I really wanted to acknowledge that last time that you that we were on the inner circle when you talked about the producer versus consumer and how hard it is to be us. And that just touched me so much. And you sent out the email where you were talking about just how just keep going. It was like really.
You got to. If we stop, that's the end of the world. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to have been helpful. And if we stop, the world ends. So no pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, none whatsoever. You're good. But everything is resting on your shoulders.
Right.
Just know that. Yeah, it does.
Yes, thank you so much. That really feels like, yeah, no wonder I'm fat. So, and I was all wrapped up in the whole fat story, so I'm a little bit in a little bit. But here's what I want to do. I want to just, I guess if I turn screen share on, you can see a few things I have to share with you and then get to my, right?
I can indeed. Oh, you know what? So the folks, I bet Andrew's fixing this, but Sassy, they can't hear her well in her audio channel. Is it on her end? Hey, Lisa, will you kindly see if you can raise the audio volume that's coming in on your end? Oh, hey, Massimo's here. Maybe we can get him after. Did we lose Lisa? Shoot, I hope not. Uh-oh. Did we done blow up Lisa? Let's see if I just don't move, people think it's frozen.
Can you hear me?
She's back.
Okay.
I hear you now. Sweet.
As soon as I tried to do screen sharing, it turned my volume off. So I don't know what happened, but I turned my volume up. And
Sweet.
Now if I do screen sharing, I'm afraid I'm going to get lost again. Should I try it?
Let's try. Let's see what happens. It's the worst that could happen. Bad. You never want to really ask that question. The universe is like, well, let me show you. Oh, it done blowed up again? That's so weird. Oh, and I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, huzzah. Look at there. Corporate Culture Pros.
That's me. Okay, so this is my website. I have generated 100% of my consulting practice off this website for the past 8 years. It's generated leads, and it's drying up. The space is really crowded on the internet right now. I am, just the pipeline. So I have decided, and I've got a few products that I did your 4-day cash machine over the past 5 days. I just did, you call that low hanging fruit, right? And my mailing list is about 468 people. This, what you're looking at now, is the actual results in Aweber from the email
Good
campaign.
Lord, your stats are awesome. I mean, the list is small, but my gosh, they really open and read your stuff. That's wonderful.
Yeah, they opened it. These were the sales, the little 5 sales pitches, I guess you'd call it, right, for this culture toolkit. And I sold it for 50% off. I sold 13 of them. So I don't think is that okay? Because that seems small to me.
It's 1% of your entire list.
Is that good?
So, yeah, considering 3.8% of your list, well, let's see, the max was 5.7% of your list actually went to the page to see the offer.
Yeah, see, because a lot of those 20%, I don't know. I just don't know what I'm just a baby beginner in this, so I know I'm.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I typically tend to declare shenanigans on Aweber's open rate stats. I think they're high. It'll like over report because I don't know what it is. That I could be wrong. So what I'm paying attention to is your clicks, and your clicks are pretty good. 3.8% click-through rate. So yeah, you converted almost 1% of the entire list. That's great.
Well, so that was like a warm-up, right? That was just like, I've never sold to my list. I want to see if I can do it, prove to myself I can do it. But what I want is to earn some real money. So I am scheming a campaign to do an online class. And hopefully you're seeing this, my little photo of my.
That's awesome. It's an evil scheme photo.
Right? And I'm like, okay, so now this is where I'm getting confused. You can see all these like things that I could do based on what I've been studying and learning from you. But I need to know what to do. I don't have a very big budget. I'm the definition of bootstrapping here. And I'm just trying to figure out what's the sort of, first thing to do and the next thing to do and the next thing to do and what connects to what to get this bottom line. At the very bottom, you can see the offer is this training class, which I want to price at $897 and then, do the $697 with some little fast action bonus that would give them 2 one-on-ones with me, 2 one-on-one sessions with me. And so I'm just trying to figure out, that's the offer. That's the ultimate, bottom line. I want to fill 10 to 12 seats my first time. I want to run this month and start it by February 1st. So how do I get those people? That's my question. And I've never done Facebook advertising at all. If you look at the very top, you'll see that I have a website that gets about 1,500 unique visitors a month, which isn't a lot, but it gets that. I have my email list. I have about 3,000 connections through social media via LinkedIn and Twitter. I don't use Facebook at all because it's a corporate audience. And then I've got this little idea of running an ad somewhere to try and get cold traffics. And my proposed headline is Happy People Equals Healthy Profit.
So what do your people want?
Yeah,
the people who would buy your stuff.
The people who buy my stuff, the people who've hired me to come in and work with them is what I know the most. And they want me to teach them how to fix their broken corporate culture, usually because it's lots of people are leaving, so high turnover, or they've had a big change in the company, like a merger, and they know that the natives are restless, and it's just they're not happy. The toolkit, I think buyers, are a lot of consulting firms, and it could be a lead gen source for me. Like this last campaign, I had a guy from in the pretty senior role at Johnson & Johnson write to me, bought the toolkit, and then said, does it come with a one-on-one with you? I said, I think we can work that out. So we
okay, you're going to convert that guy into a client, right? Let's get some money.
Hope. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hope so.
And let's get him. I mean, he's asking for it, and he's a buyer.
I don't know what he wants
yet,
so
what do you want him to pay you?
Well, my corporate clients typically pay me $25,000 at the bottom end when I get in there and start doing cultural assessment. I just have really struggled. My conversion rate on clients, once I got them on the phone, I used to land 1 out of 3, and that's changed over the past year because there's so much competition in my space. In fact, in August of last year, I was up against a big consulting firm. They wanted to hire me, and I said, what do we need to do to convince them meaning their senior executive team? And she said to me, the woman I was talking to said to me, let's go through the process of trying to use you, and at the end they had to pick Deloitte. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I can't compete with Deloitte, really. I've got to figure out how to differentiate myself on my own terms. So that's just a little aside.
Well, that's one, in all fairness, that's one deal. It could have been they might have known someone at Deloitte, or maybe the board was like, well, it's a big name. It's, we have to spend this, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So I wouldn't let that mess you up.
No, they told me that very directly. They were like, we had to go with them because they're already working inside corporate at the U.S. office. So, yeah. I don't let that get to me too much, but it's just that feeling of like, well, if Deloitte, they're not experts in corporate culture, and it's just it's a sort of a trend that I've been seeing in my space where I'm having a hard time getting sales conversations, and then when I do get them, I'm having a harder time converting them to clients.
So I hear you, and our brains will tell us all manner of stuff. Our brains are the greatest directors of the world's best horror movie. So that is a client who already had hired Deloitte, and senior management was like, well, we kind of have to keep Deloitte. And so now your brain is telling you can't compete with Deloitte, and Deloitte's a problem. But in reality, it was just one deal, and it doesn't matter if you'd given it to them for $5. They kind of had to go with Deloitte. So,
and the bigger,
turn that off.
Okay. Yeah. So the bigger, I guess you'd call it setback was this has been happening all year. That's just one example. 2 days before Christmas, I had a $65,000 contract that they had signed. Well, they didn't sign. That was the problem. They had agreed to go forward November 1. And for 6 weeks, I tried to get them to sign the statement of work. 2 days before Christmas, they came back and said, we've decided we're going to do the work ourselves. So that
means it was the end of the year and they were out of money. That's not your problem.
Yeah, it's just the biggest competitor is either not doing anything or doing it themselves. So it's not Deloitte.
Yeah. So, but now there's two. So, and I know we're getting off the rails here, but I'm doing this for everybody else. You have to be like a trial attorney. Be like, show me the hard evidence to support this belief as actually being true. Otherwise, our brains are like, oh, yeah, it's the end of the world. You know what I mean? And like, we've all done it. I mean, the classic example is you get one negative comment on Facebook and your brain's like, everybody hates this. And you're like, well, actually, it's just these two guys. You know what I mean? So it's really important for accurate thinking to happen there. I'd like to know, would you rather have the $25,000 Johnson & Johnson client or sell $80-something $100 worth of these courses?
That is a great question. I have been.
Which would you rather do first, actually?
Well, the first, I
maybe
need the client. I need to get some money infused because losing a project like that 2 days before Christmas that represented my bills for the next 6 months was painful. So I
Yeah,
need to do
it
that.
sounds like.
Yeah. You know,
Let's
but
get the
I've
Johnson
been
& Johnson
trying-
guy.
Yeah, but I've been trying for 4 years to launch this as a lead generation system, but also as its own revenue stream, you know, that whole kind of leveraged income. So it's,
Cool.
you know what I mean?
Do you want to ignore the Johnson & Johnson guy?
No,
Because, I mean, this
he's
is...
he's on deck tomorrow with his
Okay.
yeah.
Let's close him, though. Let's forget about all the other stuff. But, hey, why did you call me? What's the problem? What effect is this having on your organization? Do you want to fix it? Do you want me to help you fix it? Let's do this. You got to do it right now.
Okay, no,
Great. Eye of the tiger, Rocky. Okay, so let's start. We got that out of the way. But let's seriously, and if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It doesn't matter. There's millions of them. There's one of you. Who cares? You know what I mean? The problem's never going to get better. There's always going to need help with this stuff. You had a couple bad deals. It's okay. You know, it doesn't mean the rest of the world is.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're good.
Thank you.
Well, I've been through it, so I know exactly where your head's at. It's like, well, screw it, man. This doesn't work anymore. It's like, no, it's like 3 things happen. It's not a big deal. It's fine. You know, it's still, you have a viable model. People need the help. The industry's not going away. It's growing, right? I mean, statistically speaking, the consulting industry is, so you're perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about selling this thing. Actually, first let's just see maybe if there's a couple extra clients out there. You ever heard of the Dean Jackson 9-word email approach?
No.
Okay, so Dean Jackson's a marketing genius. He runs ilovemarketing.com with Joe Polish and More Cheese, Less Whiskers. They're both podcasts about marketing. He's a very dear friend of mine.
Okay.
And he is the master of the soft touch friendly marketing. He's brilliant, brilliant guy.
Better than you?
Significantly better than me. So he's got this thing that he calls the 9-word email, which is where when you have something that's expensive to sell to someone, you send them this email, and it is the definition of 9-word email. It isn't actually 9 words. It is short, to the point, and expecting a response. Right? So the email might be, let's say you want to get HR clients. The email might say something like, the subject line might be their first name with a question mark, and then the body might be something like, are you still looking to solve turnover problems for 2017?
Got it.
And that's all.
Really?
And then they might reply, yes, because they reply and they say yes or no. If they say yes, you say, that's great. I have some ideas that might be able to help you. Would you be interested in setting up a call? And so all it is a way to get them to say, yes, I'm still interested in that. See?
Interesting.
It would be a terrible strategy if we're selling a $40 ebook, but you've got $25,000, $65,000 deals, so it doesn't take many people to get one, you see. So before I built this whole scheme, I'd just send that out today.
Okay.
See what happens.
Okay.
And whatever the problem is, it could be solving HR, it could be whatever. And just see, I wouldn't expect 1 million replies. There's only 1,400 people on the list, and you know how it is. 80% of them aren't going to read the email. It's normal, no big deal, right? But you might get a few, and that might land one. And I might do that every couple days, because some people have that's their whole model. You know what I mean? Wow. So now let's talk about the evil scheme.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to sell this thing, and it's $700, and it's some classes and stuff that has a one-on-one with you, which is wonderful. All right. And what is the benefit of this thing for them?
So the benefit is convenient, affordable way to learn how to shift your wayward culture.
So it's culture fixing,
Yes.
but without having to spend $25,000.
Yes.
Okay. So instead of trying to design an elaborate thing, you want to try this real quick, like in the next couple of days?
I'd love it.
Which
love to try
would be,
something. Yeah.
let's take that same 9-word email approach, all right? And after you send the big client getting thing, let's suppress anyone who responded. So don't email the guys who say yes that you're like working deals with, right? So suppress them, and then go to the list and have the body say, would you like to fix your corporate culture without having to pay a consultant, in parentheses, like me, a small fortune?
Oh God, can you repeat that?
Would you like to fix your corporate culture
Yeah.
without having to pay consultants like me a small fortune? And then just see, like, if people respond and say yes, that's great. I have something that is, probably less than 1% of your entire budget that can significantly help. I'd love to set up a call with you. And then just close them, we could build this entire giant thing, but what you've got is a really small list. So we're going to build this huge thing that may or may not actually convert, 11 to 12 of them. Or we could just get on the horn and close them down real quick. And because the list is small and you got a high value and it's a legitimate world, you're not trying to sell some weird get-rich-quick MLM stuff. You're dealing with actual companies that can easily write you a check for $700. In fact, you might want to raise the price of that, to, double it or whatever.
Okay.
Because your target might think this is not worth a shit. It's only $700. Yeah. It's stupid. Yeah. So say, man, it's a class. I walk you through it. It's $3,000.
Yep. Okay. So good. Okay. So close them. Just go straight to the sales conversation to close them, rather than do the whole opt-in, sales page, email, video, web. I'm like overwhelmed with the idea of building all this, quite honestly.
Yeah, well, the mission is just to sell 12 of these things, or really the mission is to make whatever it is, $7,000, $8,000. So
exactly.
Raise the price up, let's raise the price up because it's worth it, and you have to talk to them, and it probably would be undervalued if it was cheap, with that market. They might think, it's no good. And then just get them on the horn. I'm not saying you're going to close all 12 of them, but let's validate it the easiest way possible first and see. If you get some takers, then you can automate it later, So we got 3 things. Close the guy tomorrow, or at least really put some effort into it. It's Johnson & Johnson. $25,000 ain't anything to them. You know what I mean?
You got 3 what?
We got 3 things to do. Number 1, close this dude tomorrow from Johnson & Johnson.
They're
doomed without you. They will die. It is your responsibility to save their lives from the horror of whatever the problem is that they face. Don't let them off the hook. He bought already, and he wants you. So it is not this is not a cold prospect. This guy's very hot. Step number 2, 9-word email. Hey, you still looking to solve your HR problems? See, that's a big client getting thing. Step 3 is, do you want to do it yourself? We can knock those things out in 3 days. Got Johnson & Johnson tomorrow, do 9-word email the day after that. Do you want to do it yourself the next day? And that'll get you some action, and you'll be getting some money, and then from there we can maybe build some complicated stuff. See, this is what happens if you reduce your mental capacity down to like Fisher Price level stuff. You have to think simplified, and that's what I did. It was on purpose. You see, I lobotomized myself with drugs and alcohol in my youth, and that's what did it. Nancy Reagan was wrong. It worked for me. All right, happy to be of service. Okay, we got anybody else? That's it. What about Massimo? Okay, thank you very much. You'll get this. You'll be fine. Just keep your head up. You're good. Everything's cool. You can be all right. Yeah, my pleasure. So no Massimo?
No Massimo today. I think we're going to
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay.
We're going to try maybe getting him on via Skype next time and see.
We're going to get him on to Skype. We can't leave my man hanging from Italy, dude. Can't leave Massimo hanging.
He did some ha-has in the chat, though, so he was having a good time.
All right. Man, last thing we want to do is leave my buddy over there in trouble. Okay. Well, man, this was like this is interesting. This is our longest call we've ever done. Of course, I always enjoy all of them. This is literally my favorite part of this job, quote unquote job here. And I didn't go to the normal thing where I give this presentation to you because I knew that we'd have a lot of pent up questions and stuff. So if anyone is new and this is your first call, this is actually an anomaly. Typically our call format is we come on, I teach some cool stuff, and then I say, okay, what can I help you with? I just knew internally that today would be different, that we'd have a lot of people that needed help, and I just didn't want to leave anybody hanging. So that's why we deviated a little bit. Our next call, we'll stick with the normal format. Not that I think anybody minded, but that's the way it goes. Never make the mistake that I have made by listening to what we're doing with someone else and thinking it doesn't apply to you. when we were digging through Paul's data, I guarantee you, when you're running ads, or if you're running ads now, you're going to have that illusion that Paul might have been having, which is, oh, I spent all this money, it didn't work. And when we found out, digging into the data, well, actually, yeah, you spent a lot of money on stuff that didn't work, but the thing that did work was intensely profitable. And within that thing that did work, there were things that we could pile away to make it even more profitable, right? So always think to yourself, okay, what is the big picture thing going on here, and how can I utilize this in my business? And you'll be gold. And keep up the good works, homies, and go to the Facebook group and let's get cracking. Let's keep the dream alive. I look forward to talking to y'all in a couple days. And by the way, you may or may not know, we have a new training that is for members only. It is called The Path. It is all about the mental game. How to make sure that when the inevitable challenges arise, I no longer have to have this thing in my ear. No wonder my own voice sounds so loud. When the inevitable challenges arise, you won't be falling prey to overwhelm. You won't be thinking, oh, everything doesn't work. And when in reality, there's like things are actually working pretty good. You won't be stressed out. You won't be fearful. I'm going to teach that every Monday for 4 weeks, beginning this upcoming Monday, January 16th. We'll be doing that live. We'll get you the links to join into those trainings. Naturally, the training is for you. It's inspired by our last conversation of 2017, where we talked about Atlas and we talked about being a producer and all of that kind of stuff. So that's just something we're doing to be cool to members. So I think you'll really, really enjoy it. And every day or every Monday for 4 weeks. If you miss one of them, naturally they're recorded and stuff. And until then, I'll see y'all next time. All right? We good? We got everybody? I don't want to leave anyone hanging. We cool? Okay. Y'all take it easy. Thank you so much. This is a long one. It was a good one. Let's keep the dream alive, baby. I'll see you soon.